do.
Straight down the bank, no problems. Oh. Now he's going to move him up a little bit. Get up. Gave that a wrap. 102, 103, 10 seconds to get home. Is he going to make it? Come on, Barry. Time's tight.
No.
Oh,
No, it is.
just-
Oh, no, it is. It's clear. They must have increased the time.
Are we still waiting for that information on the time? 115 seconds, and there's his signatory fist pump. So I just hear Roger, the commentator, saying our first clear round of the class. So they must have moved the time out. Still waiting for our runner to navigate her way through the security barricades.
Our runner
So they
standing
must have
behind
moved the
us.
time out.
He hasn't moved. Yeah, no, Shannon then obviously definitely got a time fault. She was on 117 was her time.
Carolyn Chelchinsky, Midgard Zingaro.
This is definitely, I think, that's a contradiction. Definitely, I think. Her first derby.
I would think so. Don't recall her being out in a derby before. In fact, no, she has been campaigning in the 135, so another step up for her. Don't think she's been in the 140s for too long. She's in a really good rhythm now. She's moving along. Really positive.
I think this is a Consuelo.
This is a fantastic horse.
Very nice horse. She's brought him up from scratch.
Absolutely.
She's done a really
loves
good job
this
with
horse.
him.
Not mistaken, rides out of the Burlington setup.
Yes, she does.
Steadies to that one. Moves on up the hill. So she's got the clock in mind. Slight hesitation at the takeoff, but gets away with it. Rolls on beautifully to the road crossing, sponsored by Mark White Nissan. This is looking good.
This is.
I'm scared to say anything though,
I know.
because every time I say this is looking good, I'm
I
holding
know.
thumbs.
Okay, good. Maybe you're learning. Maybe it's your timing.
Oh, come on, Zingaro. Carolyn did not appreciate
And I'm
that.
surprised at that because they've got a
Yeah.
bank at Burlington and I would have thought they would have practiced it.
Oh, what a pity. That was looking so good. Goes down now.
I think for a moment Zingaro thought he was going to have to go down the big bank
Yeah.
and declined.
Has the panels as well. What is the way to ride the bank? You see, she came in a little bit hot there, and sometimes just giving them a little look-see first, coming in nice and gently. Is that the way to do it? What is your
I'm
feeling?
not sure. I always prefer to you obviously got to give them time to look at it, but I prefer to move on a little to it and to keep moving. I don't like. I'm not a fan of coming right back and waiting and then going really slowly.
Well, we've got an interview with Barry Taylor lined up, and we're going to cross over now to Dale Robin.
Barry, 13 horses in, finally a clear, well within the time. How are you feeling?
Tired. It's just a new horse I got. Gova Triggle owns him. He's just such a trier, and he came here into the country. He was a little bit of a worried horse in that. And I spent a year training him. I knew when I jumped the first 3 jumps, if I keep it together, he'll be clear today.
Legend Barry Taylor.
Well, you can see what it takes out of you, Barry.
He looked a bit
talking
flustered, didn't he?
about, Yeah, no, I mean, it's a hell of a thing. It's a hell of a course, and I think that horse is not as easy as it looks.
Do you think he'd know after all these years you need to get a little bit more cardio fit to jump a derby? If he's huffing and puffing after the mini derby, where's he going to be later?
It is always difficult to do an interview straight after you've ridden because you do sound like you've run a marathon.
Tracy Carney now, what a fantastic rider she is. She's had a few rides around the big derby.
Yeah, she's
Years
a beautiful
gone
rider
past.
too. Really experienced.
Holder of Protea Springbok colours. This Lacano Nikita.
I think Nikita's out of a Consuelo mare.
He is.
There you go. We know everything.
And
Tracy's
Tracy.
really going for time. Tracy's making sure she's going to be in the time.
And I think this horse a little bit better when you
Yes, he
punch
is.
him in a little
Yeah.
bit.
He used to belong to Steve
Oh,
Atkinson.
perhaps a little bit too much there. Just the one down. Tracy's one of those riders that you want to see on an exceptional horse because she's an exceptional talent.
She is. She's great.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this. This horse, absolutely not. He's a wonderfully game campaigner, brilliant little horse. But Tracy is just so talented that she's deserving of a real superstar. Isn't
No, she is. Absolutely. She's done a fabulous job with this horse. And so's her sister, Lynn. Lynn's won a couple of derbies.
Yeah, she won on Avis Ella a few years ago.
And the Piroli, I think. Did she ever win on Piroli, the big chestnut?
No, just the one win on
Okay. Ella.
Ella, as far as I know. Piroli was well placed.
Oh.
And has the last down as well. Coaching staff, Dominic Alexander in the Kiss and Cry boots, sponsored by Red Pepper. Well, Tracy should be slightly disappointed, but I think the horse's first go around the mini derby gets a pat. So Heather Mostert now from KwaZulu-Natal. Summerbridge Cruise is the horse. This horse has been going really well throughout the course of the week. Heather, a good friend of mine. In fact, we were at school together. She then went on and she won herself a Miss South Africa title many years ago now.
Beautiful girl.
And riding at the top of her game at this show, really has impressed with the way she's been riding. Super forward and positive, giving the horses every chance. And
Does Heather ride with Ronnie Lawrence?
she has ridden with Ronnie Lawrence for many years, yeah. Super jump over that. So that's one of the FEI stewards, Marie-Claude Turlot.
She's a fabulous steward.
Gets enthusiastic about every horse and rider that goes
Yeah,
around.
doesn't she just? And such a nice person.
Heather also got the clock in mind, presses up the hill. Good
She-
shot into that.
Heard someone giving encouragement at the gate. Steady, steady.
Probably Anton, there he
Yeah.
is, husband Anton Mostert. Super over that. Heather had to hold with the left leg, probably also looking at the blankets a little
for
bit.
Sure. Yeah.
Well ridden. Come on now. Get down. There you go. This is looking super. I'm scared to say anything, but this is looking super.
And she did touch that.
Come on, Heather. Keep it together. Back on track, Dyke now. Back on track.
Oh, fabulous.
And there we go.
Beautiful ride.
108. Look at Anton.
And
He
well
is
in the
elated. Well done, Heather Mostert. Great ride.
That was a stunning ride.
108.48. What a brilliant, brilliant effort from Heather Mostert. Horse jumping for its life. She has been impressive the whole week. She has been really, really forward, really positive. The horses have been jumping supremely well. Got into a little bit of hot water with the judges the other day when she walked her horse over the bank and they said naughty, naughty, but wonderful efforts.
It's always a temptation to walk.
See
Over the
what test
bank.
the limits. What can we get away with?
Well, not so much that, but you know, it's such an imposing arena, this, and it's quite a big thing for the horses to come in here. They do get overwhelmed, and it's good to take them, let them walk around and look at everything. So I'm all for that. And I think the judges need to be more lenient
I mean,
about that.
do it. Just don't get caught.
That's a good thing.
Ryder Corbo, what a fantastic rider he is. Back on track, Quintino 4, so we'd really like to
Rogan's
see them
horse.
going well. Back on track, of course, one of the big sponsors here, and this horse owned by
Linda.
Ellerine.
Liam was riding this horse for a couple of years. and then it moved on to Reiner.
And Ray getting a really, really good tune out of him. Top rider and as cool as they come.
He rode the Derby on a little chestnut once. Do you remember it?
I think he's ridden a few derbies.
Yeah, I think he has.
He rides again on Clooney 3 this afternoon, again for Linda. Back on track, and has had a ride or two around before on Clooney. And for me, one of the dark horses in the race this afternoon come the Derby.
He could do really well.
It's going super well.
A grey dark horse. See, Ray did that a little differently, did the up, sort of came straight up to it instead of at 90 degrees. It's looking like a fabulous round.
I'm holding thumbs, I'm holding toes, I don't want to say anything.
I don't have
One
the
left to come. Come on, Ray. 110.
Good round.
There we go.
Very good.
Second of the clears.
Third
of the clears. Brilliant. Brilliantly well done by Reiner Korber. So one of the clears, Heather Mostert, and we do have an interview lined up with her.
Look how beautifully.
Heather, second clear in the class, going into a jump off, which everyone wanted. What's your game plan?
I'm just going to go as fast as I can and hopefully run clear. My horse is world class. He's the best horse I've ever ridden, and I have such fun every time I go in the ring. So I'm just going to go out there and enjoy myself.
Wonderful effort from Heather. Stacey Lee Weston returns. This her second ride. Western Ferries Frischgewacht Billabong. This horse, if I'm not mistaken, has been around the big derby with Stacey in years past, and today negotiating her way, navigating her way around the mini derby, sponsored by 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day. Big thank you to Carolyn Stain.
I don't know that Billabong has been on the big. She rode that fabulous thoroughbred of her husband's. Paddy's thoroughbred. What was its name?
You're calling
She rode him.
You're wanting me to wipe the cobwebs from my memory banks here, Gail.
I know,
You need
she
to
rode
stop
it, that
doing
lovely
that.
thoroughbred of
We're
her.
not going to remember any of them. Let's just put it out there. Pretty sure this horse went around the derby. We'll get confirmation.
Stacey is so competitive on this horse because he's fast, and she's won some fantastic classes on him.
I think Gonda a lot of the time has to rein her in.
I think so.
Whispering her
But I
ear,
don't think she
Stacey, not
succeeds.
today. We're building. Stacey wants to go. It's looking good. Of course, we're getting into the higher qualified horse and rider combinations now towards the tail end of the first round.
Say nothing. Good round.
And there we go,
Stacey.
fantastic. Well done, Stacey Lee Weston, Frischgewacht Billabong. Well, our previous rider, Reiner Korber, was clear on Quintino, and we do have an interview lined up for you.
Reiner, we've now got a fantastic jump off. Any challenges today on this course?
My horse is quite experienced. Yeah, I think just to keep a little bit of concentration right to the end. A little bit of a hesitating moment at the start, but the rest was really good. It's a really cool experience also. I had a lot of fun.
Reiner Korber will move into the jump off. So the clear's coming now. As we get into the higher qualified horse and riders. Number 19, Sandy Manas. On this lovely horse, Carinius, which she took over the ride from Anne-Marie Esslinger, her coach, who's also the course designer today. Really good ride into number one. So
This is definitely Sandy's first mini derby.
absolutely. I
She's
think,
come so far in the last sort of year or two on this horse. She's done an amazing job and she's riding beautifully.
He is a wonderful horse, isn't he?
I think he's given her so much confidence.
Anna will be watching this round closely. Get up. Water hasn't caused too many problems.
No, it hasn't. Only Yanni, I think.
We saw a lot of stops at the water yesterday in the micro derby, but I think only one that had a foot in the water, so that's not the problem. If they jump it, they're generally clearing it.
I think, you know, the... Oh, Sandy, bad luck.
So unfortunately, Sandy just becoming dislodged. I think that might have winded her slightly.
She seemed to go to the left of the jump, so he jumped. It was very wide where he had to jump it, and I think he just put his feet down.
And then you just get caught up. So we're going to go to a replay. So, Sandy just being seen to by the medic. That winded her slightly, Shane. So there we go.
Yeah, he just jumped at a bit of an angle. Oh, that was such a pity. She was having such a lovely round.
And that is the St Andrews, isn't it? If you get it slightly
Yes.
wrong, if you're not dead centre on a good one, that can happen so easily.
One thing that you saw there, the way the poles all fell down, the fact that we've got safety cups now is such a win, because the jumps just look, they fall, the poles fall easily. The horses don't fall down anymore, jumps do.
Evolution of the show jumping course is such that the poles have got slightly lighter, the cup shallower, safety is paramount.
Yeah.
Going to cross now to an interview with Stacey Lee Weston, the previous competitor who jumped a beautiful clear round.
Stacey, second round of the class. How was this one different?
This is my old war horse and my heart horse, Bobby. And we just know each other so well. It was just such a lot of fun, actually. Whereas Maxine's my little dragon, and she tears me around. Him, I got to kick and keep going, so as you can hear, I'm puffing a bit because I really got to keep his engine going. So it's a lot more work, but it was great fun.
Also a little bit out of breath, Gail.
I think anyone who's not out of breath...
Easy for us to sit up here and go, out of breath. We're not riding around these
Yeah.
derby tracks.
No, it's very difficult. I think she was amazingly, she had her breath there. It's very tiring to ride a course as
You're a
long as this.
three-time winner of the derby, so you know what it takes, how fit one needs to be. Do you do any more training other than your regular riding before you go into a derby? Don't pick up that skipping rope or, go for a 10K run at 5 o'clock in the morning?
I wouldn't say I was a skipper, no. And running, I tried running a couple of times. I ran around the house once or twice. But, I think anyone who does do cardio, you're going to be at an advantage.
So a moment or two ago, we saw a shot of Mrs. Diane Baxter, one of the judges for today, judging the water jump.
I was actually I was about to talk about the water earlier. You said in the micro derby that there were quite a lot of stops at the water. We very, very seldom in the 1 meter 35s get water. So I think it's, first of all, you're in this big arena that's overwhelming, and suddenly they get the water for the first time. A lot of horses would be having a problem with it. So I would say that's par for the course.
Not too many problems here in this 1 meter 40 today, as you say. That's when you really start to see the water, so
Yeah.
these horses would be more accustomed to it. So Nicholas Riley, she's having her second ride here in this mini derby. Of course, she went earlier with the Eagles Laser. And now she rides this Reach for Gold for owner Kay Schofield. Shame has that rustic plank down. This is son of Rondemont. Nicola would be fit enough. She's got a lot of horses in her string, hasn't she? I
Absolutely,
believe El
she rides
Paso is
every
out
day.
for the year, showing the 2017 winner. He's done a suspensory and having a little bit of a rest. But I think she still rides something like 9 horses a day, Nicola.
No, I'm sure she
Plus
does.
she's into the Pilates and the yoga. And
Well, you can tell by her figure that she's into all the exercise and that she's really fit.
so
I
down
wondered
this
why I
far.
hadn't seen El Paso for quite a while.
Yeah, he unfortunately injured
And Connoisseur?
Big Derby
He
today.
is in the Big Derby, okay.
Again, one of the dark horses. He's been a bridesmaid and never a bride on a few occasions. He deserving of a big title.
Yeah, lovely horse.
Oh, little hop, skip and a jump down the bank.
Quite a feisty little horse, this. Rondemar was Johan Lotte's World Equestrian Games ride.
Correct. Super jump over the last. 2 for time in 1:21.24. Finishes on 6 penalties. Reach for gold. Nicholas Syme riding. Equipage Grandstand. Big thank you to Equipage.
And that's Reach for Gold's owner just standing up on the left. Kay Schofield.
Okay, that's it. Ronnie Lawrence now, 4-time winner of the Big Derby. And here he goes on this lovely Optimus.
The lovely horse. This is by that amazing stallion that Jerry Detroit imported from the Wellington.
Van der Wellington.
Exactly.
So that's one that
We do remember one thing. Did Michelle
Michelle started
this horse? Michelle Hobbs.
Michelle Hobbs.
I think Ronnie's had him for a couple of years now.
A lovely shot of the Revel Stables board there. Revel Stables, the sponsor of the big wall come the Derby today. Martin Collins, the sponsor of the style. Lovely to have all these sponsors. What do you make of this new look, new feel, new approach to the Derby?
Yeah, it's fabulous. It's nice to get everyone involved. And
Just look like it just
Ronnie looks
drifted
like he's
slightly
looks
there.
like he's riding for his life. Yeah, this is a young stallion,
Yeah.
and it's definitely his first time in this.
Beautiful expression on his face, isn't there? Ears pricked, looking for the work, looking for the fences.
Luckily, not looking at the blankets.
He had this horse in a short shank hackamore for a long time, and I see he's
Got it back in a.
gone back to the bit. So Ronnie been based in KwaZulu-Natal for a few years now. Shame he has that one down. 4 penalties. First faults on course. Beautiful forward ride there.
Horse is looking like it's quite difficult in its mouth.
Yeah. He might just go back to the short shank.
Possibly.
6.
Good round.
Good round. Just the panels at the bottom of the bank. Looks like he can get a little bit strong.
Yeah. Just a little sort of maneuverable. He looks a little. I think when he's looking, he gets a little stiff in his body, and that's what makes him difficult.
Ronnie will be looking forward to the big derby this afternoon. He has the Avis Rent-A-Cars Gillian van Orshoff. I think if you're a betting man, one of the short-priced horses come the big derby. He's been there or thereabouts in the last couple of derbies and just come up short. I think was 2nd or 3rd last year, and for my money would be there or thereabouts.
Ronnie's always a threat for the big derby,
Yeah,
because he's also a master derby rider. So I would say for sure. This is a lovely horse. This is the other other horse by,
Numero
horse
uno.
by Numero Uno, exactly.
Kami's Novastad Neuland Nightlife, Arnold Buerta. He brings out the red helmet for the big occasions, does Arnie.
Is this not his
Such
Arnold's
a
first
character.
time in the big derby? In the mini derby? Or not? Can't be sure.
Gonna have to get our fact checker.
Our fact checker is busy snoozing
Where
at
is
the
our
back
fact checker?
there. Doing nothing. Oh, Arnold.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Arnold rides this horse. He's very upright and in the front, very light in front, and Arnold holds him off the fences and just got that one a little bit wrong.
This is such a keen horse. I mean, just look at the look on his face, and he's so focused, and he just wants to do his job. It's beautiful to watch, and he's actually
He's
so
a great
careful.
horse in a run-off as well. You can just sit back and get him to the base, and he'll just pop up, won't he?
Yeah, oh, it's a lovely horses. This horse won the Young Horse Performance Series 6-year-old final a couple of years ago. It just shows
That's something you would know, Gail, because that is your series.
Exactly.
Tell us a bit about how's 2019 series going.
It's absolutely fantastic. The finals at Stain City on the 19th of October.
And I believe that will be live streamed.
Yeah, and funnily enough, Don Cumarco, who's won it 4 times.
4-time winner. Not in today, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
Injured.
but he was the 6-year-old winner about 6 or 7 years ago as well in the Young Horse Series. So it's a good series to start your horses in. And all the good horses come through that series. Just so that
You're
you know.
saying you'll win 4 derbies if you start in the Young Horse Performance.
Exactly, exactly.
6 penalties. Arnold will be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, it was a super round. What a lovely horse. I think big derby for him next year for sure.
And Arnold also sitting on the Kyalami Equestrian Park Exco, with his portfolio being the grounds and the equipment, and deserves a plug because looking absolutely fantastic, these grounds here at Kyalami Park today for this big derby.
Aren't they just? It's the most beautiful arena, this, and the derby is just something so special.
Rogan Askin and Rainer Korber in the Kiss and Cry booth, taking a look at Grant Langley, Forsyth Bankston, one that the Forsyth stud of Grant and ex-wife Carla bred. I think this by Billy Bankston. Am I correct in saying?
I'm
Fact
not
checker,
sure.
where are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Another one went the wrong way.
See, Grant's done the big derby a couple of times on that big, very, very
We know him
strong
as
horse,
Billy.
Patrick. No, Patrick.
Oh, Patrick.
Patrick first was the first one that Grant went around at 110 miles an hour. And then that lovely mare of his,
Sissy.
Sissy, exactly, I knew it. And then Berlioz.
Berlioz de Roi Droit.
That's exactly
Billy.
what I was going to say. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, Berlioz is the sire of this horse. I could be mistaken, though. We'll have to find that fact checker.
Yeah, I think the fact checker needs to be fired, in fact.
In fact, fire the fact checker.
Yeah.
8 penalties thus far for Grant. He's always super competitive. He's always
Yes.
at the big shows. He puts in the mileage, travels up and down that highway between here and Natal.
And he's got such a wonderful sense of humour, Grant.
Yeah, he is dry.
Very.
And
Got
of
a lot
course
of
runs
really good
wonderful
descriptions
show.
about when he hits the dirt, about exactly what happens, like bench chassis and all sorts of stuff. So it looks like
Oh.
it's getting really strong.
Ducked slightly on landing there,
Yeah.
nearly sent Grant off the side.
Did the same after the table here.
He is quite electric, this little horse.
Yeah. Good round.
So 1 for time to add to the 8 for jumping. Finishes on 9. We do have a jump off. And of course a big thank you to Biogen as well. Biogen is sponsoring that grandstand. And I believe all those in the Biogen grandstand have been fortunate enough to buy those tickets. They're going to be spoilt by Biogen today with free drinks and energy bars and stuff. So that Biogen stand will be buzzing come
Oh,
the big
that's
derby.
good. Yeah, that's cool. That's Shaunae Gooch.
Shaunae and Stan, big thank
Yeah.
you to them. And of course Shayton Hendricks riding under the Biogen banner, and of course they're the sponsors of the jump number 18, the Rustic, in the big derby. Tinus Fissel, Schweiker Bogina. Now don't call me a liar again, Gail, but this horse did jump around the big derby with Tinus, I think, last year. Has had a ride around the big derby, but Tinus studying medical. He's studying to become a vet at Honest Poets, so putting in a lot of time with his studies and feeling that the mini derby probably more appropriate with the amount of time he's had to ride of late.
Yeah, lovely young man. This and a really nice rider too. I was just thinking perhaps Biogen could supply us with the odd
Well,
drink.
look behind you, Foxcroft. Would you like a Biogen bar?
Yes, please.
Right.
In fact,
There you
drink.
go.
I said drink.
Oh, right. No, there I can't help you, but we'll put out a word. We'll send that runner when...
That
So
runner
the A
is...
element coming down.
That runner is useless, I'm afraid.
So the pole's starting to tumble, I'm afraid, there for Schweikebogina. I think this mare by Contender, if I'm not mistaken.
Who does Tiens ride with?
Chad Cunningham, man in
there
picture.
you go.
Chad works a lot with Gonda, and
And Chad's a fabulous coach. He
he
has
is,
so
really
many
is.
so many pupils at all levels, and he's constantly
Overseas.
Overseas, exactly. Doing all sorts of things, training people and getting experience. He's a very, very good trainer. Like that horse wasn't paying attention.
Finds the finish. There is Arnold Boerter, who's just been on Nightlife. He wasn't out of breath, but then Arnold tells me he does get up at 4 o'clock every morning and run 12 Ks with his wife.
I don't believe that for a second.
So says he.
He rode a long time ago. He's now had a rest.
2 left to come. In the first round of the 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day sponsored mini derby for 2019. Barry Taylor's back, so he's caught his breath. He's been in the warm-up on Quentin Janssen's Compañero son, and of course a big thank you to Quentin and Liesl Janssen. They sponsor the hedge, the 1-2 Smile hedge.
They're such huge supporters of the show jumping scene, and we're so grateful to them for everything they do for show jumping. He does a lot of sponsorship at the Revel World Cup qualifier too.
Yeah.
Always sponsors a diamond, and
Diamond Day.
it's fantastic. Not a diamond, a diamond for every level.
Yeah, I think there are 4 on offer on
Yeah.
that day, that Friday.
Not that I've ever won one of them, but I believe they're fabulous.
I can't comment, I've never won one either. And it's a lovely horse.
Yeah.
Son of Compañero, gets his name, Compañero's son.
Oh,
There's
Carrie.
that
Little rattle there.
chap. There is Oscar Ngube and daughter Ashley looking on from the Kiss and Cry, sponsored by Red Pepper.
Oh, Barry.
So unfortunately, less than a clear won't cut it now. So Mary's chances of victory, well and truly gone now.
Shame it was a little, that pole was a little unfair. That guy was running down next to the arena and the horse looked at it.
So the 8 penalties coming to the last. And a shot of Lorette. Perhaps she was pointing to the guy running down next to the hedge.
I think so,
I'm not sure if we
yeah.
saw that on the camera angle, but unfortunately as Barry came to the hedge, was possibly a little bit distracted.
Yeah.
Last to go, Ivan van der Sade, was winner of the 1 meter 30 championship on the brilliant little Capital My Lady yesterday. Always competitive at this derby, has been a winner of the micro derby before, is Ivan.
Oh, this is a lovely young man and such a good rider and such a nice
He's
person.
top class. He's got
Yeah.
a big future ahead of him.
Absolutely.
He hails from Plettenberg Bay. He's been based in Johannesburg for I think the last 2 months or so, he
I
said.
think so, yeah.
At Charlie Crockart Stables. He comes up for the big shows, and if he can stay on and play. Ooh! Another one who went the wrong way. Get it together, Ivan.
Yeah, exactly. He's part of the Equilibrium group down in Plet. It's a fantastic organisation.
And such a good rhythm he puts his horses into. Unfortunately, that's come down. I spoke to you, said, are you going to blame me for that one as well?
I am indeed.
I saw the look on your face as I said
I
that.
saw, I think, yeah.
So unfortunately, the highest qualifiers' chances have gone with that one panel.
Unfortunately, that so often happens. I think he decided to give this horse put this horse in the 140 instead of the big derby because it had a little bit of an upset at Polokwane. It had quite a bad fall in the practice paddock.
Yeah.
So he just backed off a little bit. Was top qualifier here, so he's obviously had a fantastic show.
He'll be upset, disappointed with that.
Yeah,
but
he will.
that's the game.
Isn't that just so jumping?
I mean, look at the time, look at the rhythm that is in coming to the
it's
last.
Fabulous. Oh, super run. Really, really good run.
So unfortunately, just that 4 penalties for our highest qualifier, Riverdale's best wishes in Ivan van Leseda. As we move towards the jump off now. Jump off course over 1, 2, 14, 4, 8A and B, and 18 as we take another look at the Equipage grandstand. As the crowds start to filter in. Of course, a new look derby for 2019. Plenty of sponsors have come to make this derby possible. And we'll take a look at just who those sponsors are. Well, we're back here at Kyalami Equestrian Park. If you've just joined us, a very good morning to you. This live stream broadcast brought to you by Capital Stud. Don't forget about the wonderful auction that's coming up a little bit later. We'll be chatting to Henning Pretorius and more information on that. The Capital Stud auction happening on the 15th and 16th of November. Capital Stud are here, as are many other vendors. It's a wonderfully festive atmosphere at Kyalami Equestrian Park. With me is Gail Foxcroft in commentary and currently on the go. We're about to head into the jump-off of the 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day Mini Derby for 2019. We've got 4 clears. And they are Nissan Costa G, Barry Taylor, Summerbridge Cruise, Heather Mostert, back on track Quintino 4 and Rainer Korber, and Western Farriers, Frischgebach, Billabong and Stacey Weston. Who's your money on, Gail?
Well, Stacey's such a threat, and especially last to go. She is so fast. My bet's on Stacey, and she'd better win it.
You got Barry in there?
No, Barry's great, but
and
I just
of course, Ray.
Yeah, no, they're all good. But my favourite is Stacey.
Time allowed for the jump of 53 seconds. Well, Stacey is sitting in pole position. She'll go last, so she'll have the opportunity to see what the others do, find the time, what turns are available, what turns are possible, what turns are not possible, where the risks are. So always
I think if
best to go last.
I think it is always best to go last. But I think Stacey's going to be fast. Whether she was number 1 or number 4, Stacey would be really fast. She makes her own plan and goes for it. I'm hoping Stacey will win.
15,000 rand to the winner, so 15,000 reasons to give it a good go.
Exactly, not a bad prize at all. So Barry's going to be going all out for that.
Anne-Marie Esslinger, she's a 2-time Derby winner, and she's the lady responsible for setting up the track, and they're currently just setting up for this jump-off course, which will be over fences, I believe, 1, 2, 14, 4, 8A, 8B, and 18. So Barry Taylor trots in.
Yeah.
Of course, we've got a beautiful commentary position, courtesy of Downings, where we get a bird's eye view from the top of the arena looking down.
The only real option here
in perfect vantage position there is Barry.
Yeah, the only sort of option here is whether someone turns left or right after number 8 to go to 18.
What would you be doing? You'd be watching to see what others do.
Left is quicker, although you're breaking up your distance.
So there we are in our little box, courtesy of Downings. Big thank you to Richard Mons and Downings. Barry first to go here in this jump-off. Number 13, Nissan Costa G for owner Govert Triggle. Let's see how he goes. Winding up. It's a good ride into the first. So Barry really going well, on a great rhythm. Comes into jump number 2. Burlington Wall. Through the double. Presses up the hill, around that CMH Cheval.
We've got the wrong call.
Took a check to that one.
I've got the right call.
Gives a flap of the arms and through he goes. Just checking on the time. Clear all the way for Barry Taylor, Nissan Costa G.
Absolute masterclass, my
There's that celebratory fist pump. So now he'll sit back and see what the others do. So we're going to get a time for Barry Taylor in a moment or two. Heather Mostert next to go, Summerbridge Cruise, all the way from Natal, trains with Ronnie Lawrence. And She in a really nice rhythm over the first, that style. Good shot to the rustic planks. Rolls on down to jump number 2, the Burlington Wall. This was in brilliant form. Now she presses up the hill, goes around the Haval, up the long side past the bank. Looking good, Gail.
That's looking great. Lovely round.
Super efforts. 45-1-5. Husband Anton, super chuffed.
Okay, in our defense, if we both seemed a little stupid, we both had the wrong the wrong jump off course. So
it's that runner.
It is that runner.
Two down, 2 left to go.
I think Ray will definitely be faster.
In the jump off. So she was on a really good rhythm, and that horse was big striding. Ray's going to have to find the turns, I think. So Ryan Corbin next to go. 3rd of 4 riders in this jump off. Back on track, Quintina 4 for owner Linda Ellerine. For Mama, the Heather looked faster.
I think she was.
Now he presses. Got to find the gallop. Got to move. Heather looked like she just balanced a little bit more down that hill.
Yeah, I think.
Ray making sure he leaves them up. That's first prize. Get up! Oh!
Bad luck. Good try, really good try.
Yeah, he had to keep it tight. He knew that he was slightly behind on the clock here. This time 45. Ray comes home in 47, so he had to take the gamble to the last and fell in a little bit on the turn, and the horse just ran out of space really to the front rail.
Yeah, I think Heather's going to be on eggs at the moment now because she knows how fast Stacey is.
Here's Stacey.
Come on, Stacey.
Is this the time to let your horse have some have a little munch?
Absolutely. No, I think he's just
Just
scratching
to
his
settle
knee.
the nerves?
Oh, no, he's got to do. She's got to let him do exactly
Now
what he
she
wants.
revs up.
She did.
Now she's going. Right, Billabong, come boy, ready for action. 15,000 Rand to the winner. 10,500 Rand. 6,700 Rand, by the way, to the best turned out horse. That'll be adjudged by Greg Goss. Oh, Stacey.
Oh, Stacey. She's won. Heather's won. She just touched that off.
Gone down. So 4 penalties.
Just didn't get there.
So unfortunately, Stacey's chance is gone.
Oh, that's so sad because she's really fast. So I was wrong. Oh, not faster. Heather was faster as well. So, I mean, what a wonderful
47.04.
win.
I think once the pole came
Yeah,
down,
she just
really
backed
just,
off, yeah.
came down a gear. So that's them, Gail.
If that was Mini Derby, we did it.
67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day Mini Derby. We'll have the full result for you in a moment or two.
67 blankets for Mandela Day 2019 Mini Derby class.
So the 67 blankets, the 67, well, Nelson Mandela, he said that one should devote 67 minutes a day to doing something for others. So,
That's a good thing.
so that's why 67 blankets. A big thank you to Carolyn Stain of 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day. We'll have an interview with her a little bit later. She's going to be part of that winning presentation, the ceremony. 15,000 Rand going the way of the winner. And also 6,700 Rand going to the groom of the best turned out horse. And I believe we have the result of that. That was judged by Greg Goss. Of course, Greg famous in the showing circles. And David Wilkins Escapade III, judged to be best turned out. So big.
And he did look beautiful.
Big, he did.
Black
He
stallion.
did. He was shining. He was plaited. He did look resplendent. So a brave man in Cormor, the lovely, lucky recipient. Well, I'm not going to say lucky. He probably worked right through the night.
Exactly.
Turning out
exactly. And got up
Escapade.
at the crack of dawn.
So well done to brave man in Cormor. And reserve was Shannon Smith and Cosmos Masuko. So Dale Robin is going to join Gail Foxcroft in commentary while I make my way down to the winners' podium. And we'll be with you after this break.
Downex is the leading marquee infrastructure company in South Africa. Unmatched in creativity, innovation, and technical capability. Our event marquees and semi-permanent structures bring style, quality, and 20 years of expertise to any project. We offer state-of-the-art tailored marquee structures with world-class sophistication to amplify any celebration, corporate event, or commercial project. Downex, your countrywide marquee specialists.
I'm here. We are here watching the winners enter into the arena of this Nelson 67 Blankets for Mandela Mini Derby, lining up for their prizes. Gail, Very exciting class with a little bit of a wait for some clears there today. What did you think of the jumpers today?
It was a fantastic class. It really was. I thought that the course was really strong, and I must say everyone rode it absolutely beautifully.
Do you think we could have predicted this outcome?
Well, we didn't. I thought Stacey was going to be the winner. I mean, it was close. But Heather rode the most superb double clear and really deserves. She's a worthy winner.
Beautiful double clear from Heather. Very relaxed, and she was very excited as well coming out of her first round. Looked a little surprised. So a nice surprise for her to win it at the end. Well deserved.
No, absolutely. Huge.
The judges walking forward now to present the prizes to these worthy winners of the 67 blankets for Mandela Mini Derby 2019. Karen Stain down in the arena now with our judges stepping forward. Lots of excitement from the riders. It's a really big honour, this scale.
It is, I mean, this is your first step towards jumping in the big derby, and we'll obviously see Heather here next year in the big derby.
Caroline Stain there with Barry Taylor. Gova Triggle's beautiful horse also gave us 2 beautiful rounds. Beautiful smiles for the photographer.
Yeah, Groom obviously very proud as well of his horse doing so well.
Yeah, great excitement as well from Gova down in the riders' stand. Moving over to Stacey.
Stacey had a stunning round. It was very sad that she just touched off. I think she was a little far off that fence and just touched it off. But lovely round from her.
She came out of her first round huffing, puffing, said lots of legs are needed on this horse. But he's got the biggest heart and a bit more of an established horse, this one.
Yeah, he's been a great horse for Stacey. She's won so many classes in the 140s over the years with him. He's been a really good campaigner. Quite a character as well. There's all sorts of things that they can't do with him. He's very suspicious of people, but you get such a good tune out of him.
Rainer Korber here now. Also, beautiful round from him. Very calm and collected. An old hat at this, Rainer.
Yeah, he started off a little slower, I thought, and then was trying to make it up at the end, and I think he just got a little deep to the last.
The stand's already filling up in anticipation of the big one coming up a little later.
I see that they're going to do the best turned out just now too. All the grooms standing there ready for that. All the horses look fantastic. I mean, look at Back on Track Contino is looking particularly good. That's another horse that was so beautifully turned out by the grooms. They do such a good job, and they start at the crack of dawn and they finish late at night. And we are so grateful to them for everything they do for us.
And there's a huge amount of pride as well, listening to them and watching them on the riders' stand. I think they put just as much heart and soul into this as the riders.
Absolutely, they do. They love the horses the same way we do, and they work really hard at it.
A very small little horse, this one. Ivan giving us a really good round, and one of the smallest horses in the class, I think.
Yeah, he had a lovely run. It's so sad that he was top qualifier and he had one down, but he rides beautifully and he had a lovely round.
So it was originally going to be that 6,700 round prize. Caroline Stain was absolutely blown away by all the efforts, and we'd love to honour the grooms. They put in so many long hours behind the scenes.
The Bob Charter also looking so gorgeous and green and lush despite the heat and the water restrictions. I think Kyalami Park's done an amazing job.
They have. It always looks stunning. And I mean, just with the maroon and the green, it just the colors are great. It looks beautiful. The arena is looking so nice and green. It's always beautiful.
Our top 3 riders making their way over to the winners' podium now. Such massive accolades, and it's so lovely to see the equestrian community have come out today to support them. There they are, big smiles all round.
Maroon seems to be the color this season.
And it looks so smart.
It does.
Hugs and kisses. And here come our judges. Medals and all sorts of goodies for our winners.
It's Bruce Stewart handing out the medals, congratulating the riders. I think Bruce was jumping in the 135 derby yesterday.
Yes, that's right. I saw him go around. There was also quite a challenging track yesterday. Interesting to see how few clears there were. Oh, Heather accepting her beautiful trophy and her sash from Caroline Steyn from 67 Blankets Mandela, the sponsors of this class. A very proud moment for all 3 of those riders.
Photo opportunity.
Some good prize money for this class as well. I think that's also going to warrant some big smiles. Heather checking her envelope. And that's the way it's got to go. The big raise up in the air. Paparazzi goes wild. Well deserved, Heather. So they're going to keep smiling and taking some photos, and we're going to keep having a look at this course. The next one coming up, of course, the big South African Derby, and quite an interesting pool, Gail, of riders this year. Some youngsters going up against the legends.
They always are in the Derby. You always get the newcomers and you always get the older riders. And it's a great lineup. Not that many horses competing this year. Normally it's quite difficult to qualify. This year everybody qualified. But it still doesn't take away from the competition. It's still a fantastic competition.
Have you got any predictions?
I'm afraid I don't. I'm going to have to think about this.
Have a look.
And decide who my favorite is. Tragedy that Lisa Williams on her World Equestrian Games horse wasn't able to ride today, because that would have been an absolute out-and-out favorite.
Absolutely. Heather is ready on standby with Aidan down in the Bob Charter. He is going to have some words with her about how she's feeling after winning that class.
Heather Mostert with me here, winner of the 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day Mini Derby for 2019. How are you feeling?
Right now, I am on top of the world. I have the greatest horse. He's just shown his true colors today, and he was so much fun to ride. It was really a great, great morning.
Heather, you've been in blistering form. The horse and you have never looked better. Your rhythm, your ground rhythm has just been absolutely sublime. You've given him every chance, and you've just risen to the occasion today. Take us through that jump off. Barry was first to go. You came in. You knew you had to be clear because there were others coming up behind you. Where was your head?
To be honest, I think he gave me every chance. Quite the other way around. I just I steered him, and I hoped like hell that we'd get over everything clear. But he's so careful, and he's so enthusiastic, and just wants to get the job done that I was in 2 minds about whether I should go down from 5 to 6 and 8 or 7 strides, and decided to just roll the dice and go for it. So it paid off today, and can't be more happy or more grateful.
Now you've come up from KwaZulu-Natal. It's been worth your while. You also saw you at Revel Stable. So you've been putting in the mileage. You've been putting in the training. Chat about Ronnie as well and what influence he's had on you.
I've been training with Ronnie Lawrence for the past, I think, 3 years or 4 years now. And we've just really connected and have such a great partnership. And I think it's showing in our results. Finally, the hard work's paying off. And yes, we have had to do a lot of traveling, but on a day like this, you'll do it all again 1,000,000 times over.
Heather, I'm going to take you a walk down memory lane because quite a few years ago now you were crowned Miss South Africa. That was a big moment for you, but now you're standing here at the Mini Derby. The feeling the same? Which one's bigger?
Well, I think that was luck. Actually, today was luck too, so I don't even know if they're comparable. But I feel equally in awe and inspired to go out there and carry on doing good things. So the same.
Absolute brilliant win for you today, Heather. May it long continue. Well done.
Thanks, Aidan, and well done to you. Thank you.
Right, so we are now going to call Carolyn Steyn to come forward. Carolyn Steyn is the sponsor. 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day charity. We do seem to have an intermittent mic, which we're hoping is going to be all right. Carolyn, your first Mini Derby, how was it?
It's amazing. I'm sort of pinching myself because I'm wondering if I'm dreaming. It's so exciting. I'm not a horse person, but I'm becoming one. And so proud that 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day has had the privilege of being here at the premier equestrian event of the year in South Africa. So thank you for the opportunity, Aidan.
Now, we were also running a competition for the best turned out horse. 6,700 Rand goes to the winning groom, and I believe they had it judged by Greg Goss. And who do we have as the winner? I believe David Wilkins' horse is the best turned out, and I believe Braveman and Cormu, ladies and gentlemen, give him a big round of applause. Braveman and Cormu, the recipient of 6,700 Rand, courtesy of Carolyn Steyn. And you were so in awe of the way these horses looked. I believe spur of the moment, you decide to add in a second prize as well, 3,000 Rand to the runner-up. And that goes to Shannon Smith's Nissan Contest. Have we lost the mic? We're back. Shannon Smith, Nissan Contest, and the groom there receiving 3,000 Rand. Well done. Big thank you to you.
Thank you so much. Always very difficult to choose amongst all those beautifully turned out horses, but we had to make we had to be quite ruthless with our decision. But they are beautiful, and well done to the groomsmen. The horses are so spectacularly turned out.
Right, so that's the quadrupeds, the four-leggeds, but of course the bipeds as well, the two-leggeds. There's also a prize a little bit later on as well for the best dressed.
Yes, there is a prize for best dressed male and female. So Gregory Goss and I are going to be walking around checking everybody out. I don't know if the mic is on, but we're looking forward to choosing.
So we hope there are some well-turned-out ladies and gentlemen out there. Carolyn Steyn, 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day. Huge thank you.
Thank you so much, Aidan.
And now is one of the coolest parts for me, where the horses get to do their lap of honor, and well-deserved lap of honor.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they love this part as well. They know they're really clever. It's all about the horse at the end of the day, Gail. As much as the riders work hard and do their thing, they've got to have a horse with heart.
Absolutely. There's no rider without the good horse, and good horses make good riders.
And I'm sure that they enjoy the crowd clapping for them as well. And he knows he's clever.
They definitely do.
Heather Mustard leading off on this wonderful victory. Oh, there he goes. He knows this is an exciting time. Loving all of it. They're going to cancer now past the judge's box and hopefully let it go just a little bit. All of the winners of this 2019 Mini Derby taking their victory lap of honor and allowing the crowd to appreciate all the hard work that goes into these horses all year round. Derby, one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see all these horses in the big Derby next year.
As you said, Gail, a great stepping stone for them. Great way to get the bravery and to test the mettle on the horses. Heather Mostert definitely one to watch for the future. Here's your results of the class for the 2019 Mini Derby. Our winner, Heather Mostert and Summer Bridge Cruise. In second place, Barry Taylor and Gavatriggle's Nissan Kusta G. In third, Stacey Weston Farriers, Frischvaart Billabong. Rainer Korber made it to fourth with Back on Track Quintino 4. In fifth, Shannon Smith, after such a good start with just that one-time penalty. Mark White's Nissan Contest. In sixth, Ivan van der Schede and Rivervale's Best Wishes. Seventh, Stacey Lee Weston on her second horse, Saratoga Maxine.
Well, that wraps up the 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day Mini Derby for 2019. A wonderful result for Natal. Heather Mostert prevails. Barry Taylor from Gauteng in second. And the third placing going to Stacey Lee Weston on Frischgewacht Billabong. Well, this broadcast brought to you by the Capital Stud. They've got a wonderful auction coming up on the 15th and 16th of November. We went out to Capital Stud to just have a look about, see what the stud's all about.
Yeah, 21 years is a very long time, and a lot has happened since then. When we started off, the challenge was to breed a proper show jumper. What we'd been used to was thoroughbreds, and with the introduction of the warm blood, it gave us more opportunity to breed something more suitable for the job. So we started off with thoroughbred mares, using at the time the best warm blood stallion that there was, Rivaldor. And from that breeding, I must say, quite a few nice horses developed. And since then, the challenge was to try and improve on the breeding. Now, as a first generation breeder, I had to learn a lot. And my first lesson was to find out which were the best dam lines. So I started off importing stallions, using them on local mares, and then from then on I imported better mares, originally from Holstein, and then later on from Belgium. And currently it's still the challenge to provide horses for the current competition. Everything has changed. We're looking at smaller horses. Those days, the bigger the better. These days we're looking at smaller horses with more blood and with more scope, and that's not easy. So therefore you have to identify the stallions that breeds that and the mares that produces that. That's where we are today. The current situation is that there are a few dams that are dominating the breeding scene currently. Previous years, the German lines were the better performing lines. So currently I would think that the Belgians are the leading breeders, and they've made use of a much bigger pool of genetics by taking blood from France and using that on the German lines, especially the Holsteiner lines. They are still very much part of the Dutch and the Belgian breeding. There are stallions that are coming through, and we're still looking at stallions on the index. Chaco Blue is leading the index at the moment. But there are other stallions that are also producing very good horses. So the big challenge for me as a breeder is to keep up with the latest breedings and to invest into these lines to produce for the future. But it's a long-term project, so one only sees the end result in 10 years' time. I think it's a passion and a challenge. The passion is there. It'll never go away. It's about horses. It's about watching your progeny perform, watching your horses compete. And the challenge is to stay up there. And that is the difficult part. Because if you invest incorrectly, then, you know, it takes such a long time to correct it. And it's so expensive. So it's not about the financial reward. It's about watching your progeny grow up and perform and testing your judgment and watching the outcome of it. And I think that's where the reward comes in. I was very, very, very fortunate to come across Donko Mako as a foal. He was a little skinny thing, but watching him canter, there was something in him that really impressed me. Coronado, I watched at the selection in Holstein as a 2.5-year-old, and that kind of horse, when you see it, immediately your blood starts flowing and it makes you excited. And you can see the potential in them. Even though they are foals or they're young horses, there's something in them that's different from the rest. And then eventually, to confirm your original observation, is such an enormous reward. Obviously, they've got to be produced, they've got to be brought up, and they've got to be put through the paces. And I was fortunate enough to meet up with Nicole many years ago, thanks to Gonda. And she's put them through the paces and produced them to their full potential. And today, a horse like Coronado is still going. And it's the ideal horse for that purpose. It's the horse that can carry any amateur over a 1.60 meter course. And that's what you want. It's the ultimate to aim for. I think the most thrilling moment was the time when he won the Derby the first time. I wasn't there to watch him. I was on the farm, busy working, and got a call. And they said to me, "Your horse is in the jump off." It was unbelievable. And when he won, I had to change my clothes very quickly and get to the Derby. But that was unbelievable. Unbelievable. I will never forget that.
Welcome back to the Derby for 2019. Here we sit in our little teardrop studio, courtesy of Downings, one of the sponsors here at the Derby. But this live stream broadcast brought to you by Capital Stud. And it's my great pleasure to introduce the man on my right-hand side, Mr. Henning Pretorius. Great to have you here, but thank you for the broadcast. That's first and foremost. Henning, Derby, four-time winner, Don Camarco. He's not here today. What's going on?
Thank you, Aidan. Yeah, it's a sad day for him not to be here. It's a small injury, and it's something that will be over after the Derby. But
bad timing.
Bad timing. Bad timing. That's basically it. He's not a young horse anymore, and the day to retire him will be soon. But we would like to retire him on a high and not on a low.
Let's not even think about that. It's inevitable, but it's not today. He's just out. He had a little bit of a niggle, nothing serious, but
Nothing serious.
He won't be going for his 5th win today, but who knows, maybe next year. Let's see
Yeah,
what
hopefully next year, hey?
Yeah.
Hopefully next
He's
year.
given you some great thrills, Henning, four wins.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I saw the list of all the horses that have won the Derby on social media, and he's the only horse that's won it 4 times.
Yeah, no, I mean, he holds the record.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And of course, the great Colnado is also hacked around the Derby, now overseas in the Gate stable. That must be exciting for you.
Super. Super. He's been so good. He's been very good to Audrey. Now he's carrying Jennifer, and I believe she loves him.
Speaking of things, Don Camarco and Colnado, of course, the auction. Now going into its 3rd year. It happens on the 15th and 16th of next month. You're gearing up for that. That's going to be big.
We're ready. We're ready. All the horses are ready. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of excitement, a lot of marketing, a lot of preparation. But it's around the corner, and everyone is ready. Tryouts are starting soon. In fact, they're starting on Tuesday.
Yeah, if I wanted to sit on a horse, what do I do? What's the process?
Well, you have to go onto the website and book a slot. You pay 500 Rand, and you can try 5 horses. And obviously it's got to be planned properly, so you basically go on the website and you book a slot.
Well, the catalogue has just come out. For those of you, there it is, 2019's catalogue. It's been launched at the Derby. You've got a stand. How's the interest? A lot of interest at the stand, a lot of interest in the sale?
It's every year the same. You know, during the week it's quiet, and then it picks up
today
on
you
Friday.
Can't breathe. You just.
And today's a busy day, eh?
Well, Henning, you've got plenty lots for sale. There's something for everybody, no matter who the customer, whether they be a novice or whether they be an experienced or professional. Something for everybody at the Capital Stud auction in 2019. But you've highlighted a couple of the lots. We're going to start with the first one that you've highlighted, and that's lot number 20, Capital Destiny. Tell us about Destiny.
Destiny is a daughter of Don Camarco, and she's out of a A-star mare, Anya. She's a athletic mare with a lot of jump in her. Somebody that's looking for something similar to Chantilly. That is more or less the type.
Well, I'd be looking for something. Who's not looking for something similar to Chantilly? Who doesn't want a World Cup winning
Exactly.
horse?
I think she's got a lot of potential, and she has improved as the production went on, and I expect a lot of her.
Good temperament, easy to ride.
Rideable, temperament, no problem, with a lot of jump.
Right, so I mean, looking at the video there, certainly looks expressive. We saw the free jumping, elastic, modern day sport.
Modern horse.
Lots to like. Love the back end. Plenty of elasticity, plenty of power. So that's lot number 20. So now let's move on to lot number 25, Capital Collier. This is a gelding, Henning. Why have you identified lot number 25? What's to like?
Collier is one of Cronus's first progeny on auction. He's a big horse. He's a very strong horse. A lot of potential in him. Rideable horse. And he comes out of a very exciting dam line. Also A-star mare, but the quality lies in the Grand Dam and the Great Grand Dam, Toulon and Lister Darman. Now, Toulon is by Heartbreaker. He's a a well-known stallion, very successful in breeding. And it's the type of blood that you want in the dam line. Heartbreaker and Lister Darman, it's all Belgian. But it's been very successful over the years. He's a big horse, but rideability is there and lots of scope.
Looks like a super stride as well, super rhythm over the ground, beautiful back end. It's so exciting for you when you get to watch them, you get to make these videos and see how they're coming along, because they're still in the production phases and it's all systems go now, so exciting time.
Yeah, I imagine you watch them as a foal, and then you see them develop through the years, and eventually this is the final product.
Moving on now to lot number 30, Henning. This is your next choice. This is Capital Campbell. I mean, the name Campbell we've seen with great success, and here another one. Let's be expecting the same things from the Campbell we know.
Campbell is one of the several Coronados that are being presented at the auction, and he comes out of a Conlank dam, and it's a typical Capital Stud dam line. Conlank, and then Ulior, and then Rivaldor. Rivaldor was one of the very first stallions that I used, and then comes Dolorit. So it's been a successful dam line, and he's a particularly nice horse in terms of rideability, temperament, jumping ability, a very nice package. Anybody can ride him. He's a very easy horse, and I think he's got all the qualities to become a top horse.
Well, I mean, if he's anything like his sire, he's going to be special. The Coronado's easy, rideable. Coronado looked like he just had a super temperament, super mind.
It's like with any breeding, you know, depends on what dam it comes out of, but basically they're all quite rideable, and that's one of his big qualities, you know, being an amateur horse. And that's what you want. You want everybody to be able to sit on them.
Right, so that was a Capital Campbell, lot number 30. So we're going to move on now to Karina, lot number 36. This is a mare. She stands 16.3, just under 17 hands by Castigo, out of a Carissa, who's by Cyclone. Tell us about this mare. You've singled her out as one of your choices.
I like her a lot, Aidan. She's a mare with enormous scope.
On display there.
It's a mare that should not be on the auction. She should be in the breeding program. But you also want to give people the opportunity to buy the better horses. She comes out of a Alzu dam line, which goes back to Quincy. This is Quincy's dam line, and that's where the quality lies. In combination with Castigo, I think this is a very, very exciting horse. There are a few very good mares on the auction, and she's one of them. A lot of potential. Big mare, and I think she will go all the way.
Temperament, rideability?
100%. Very easy. Nothing funny about her.
Well, I mean, giving a great display there. That super through the wither, really.
Yep.
A huge amount of scope through the front end and the back end, but power, lovely. Capital Karina, ladies and gentlemen, on sale at the Capital Auction for 2019. That happens on the 16th of November. Madison Z is a gelding. This is lot number 37, the last of your ones that you've singled out here. What grabs
Madison,
your
very special in terms of his breeding. He's by Mr. Blue. Not many Mr. Blues around. And then he comes out of also a top dam line. The side of the mother is Calvaro, but then comes the mother of Contendro, Contender Reichsgraf, and everybody knows Contendro as a top horse. And this is a top dam line. So the combination gives you something that you can expect a lot of. He jumps, he's got a lot of jump in him. Don't think it would be an amateur horse. I think it'll take a stronger rider, but again a horse that can go right through to the top.
That's lot number 37. 37 lots being made available. How many we got?
We started with 43 and we ended up with 37. We've had a few unfortunate injuries.
I suppose that's par for the course.
And that's what happens. I would have liked to have had more horses on the auction, but I think there's 37 very exciting prospects, and there's something for everyone in terms of price, in terms of potential, rideability. Everybody should be able to buy what they're looking for.
Exciting times. We're building up to the sale. It's around about tryouts. It always starts to pick up now after Derby. This is where it really starts hotting up. So what can people expect from those 2 days? Because it's the 15th and the 16th. So what's happening?
We've changed the program slightly. We felt that the Saturday gets too long, so we've moved the under saddle presentation to the Friday instead of a loose jumping. So the Saturday will be shorter. So Friday afternoon will be under saddle presentation. Saturday morning will be a stallion show, and then people will enjoy lunch, and then after lunch we'll start with the auction.
Tickets available for purchase. How do people get
online?
involved?
Have to go online.
Go to your website.
Onto the website, yeah.
Okay. Henning, we wish you all the very, very best. Of course, it's hotting up. Things are getting busy. I'm sure your stand is getting a lot of attention. It's going to be a great sale for you, we know. Once again, a big thank you for your support, bringing us this broadcast, and all the very, very best come the sale on the 16th.
Thank you, Aidan. Thank you very much.
Don't go away. Of course, Capital Stud bringing you this wonderful broadcast. We're here with you the whole day as we build up towards the big one, the Derby for 2019. Lots of sponsors involved, bringing you the Derby itself. Each of the jumps having a particular sponsor. We'll be chatting to more people throughout the course of the day, but let's take a look now at some of those sponsors bringing you Derby 2019.
Igama lami nguBheni wakwamabhena ngihlala eSoweto eMletsani. So ngaya ngiyodlala e-Top Bet ngidlala wona ama-club lawa bedlala for the weekend and ngenhlanhla leyo ngawina i-600,000. Ngiyabonga kakhulu Top Bet ngingumuntu ngenxa yenu.
It's Derby Day here at Kyalami Equestrian Park 2019, and this is the build-up to the big one, which happens a little bit later, around about 2 o'clock, the first horse into the arena. Lots happening between now and then, lots of sponsors here at Derby 2019. It's a new look, it's a new feel, it's getting really, really festive. A lot of the grandstands decked out in their respective sponsors' colours. And one of the sponsors here at Derby, they took on the bank and the panels, and we're very, very happy that they did. Top Bet, and on my right-hand side, the lovely Aisling O'Connor. Very good morning, welcome.
Morning, Aidan. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
First of all, why are you not riding?
Oh, a little bit of heartbreak and disappointment.
What's
I was
happened?
trying to prep my horse for Derby, but unfortunately he hurt his tendon. So, but we'll be here next year.
You've been going so well.
For
We've
sure.
seen you in some of the big classes, going up into the 150s. You having fun?
Yeah, it's been a fabulous year, and a lot of my dreams have come true this year. My biggest dream is to jump Derby one day, but unfortunately...
Why is that? You talk to all the riders, and there's now World Cups around, and it's always Derby.
I
What's
think
special
there is
about
no
this?
show like Derby. I mean, as you can see, the crowd's behind us already. People come from all around the country. It's like every girl's dream to go down that huge big bank, go through the finish. And I think it's just such a privilege to take part in an event like Derby. And I mean, the people that have won it over the years are people's idols.
Yeah.
Spectacular. And I think just by being a part of Derby is something so great that every equestrian aims for.
Well, HQ Magazine has come out with this wonderful Derby edition. There it is for the cameras. And I mean, you look at the Roll of Honour, which is part of this publication, and some of the names gone to Beatrix, 6 times winner. I mean, obviously, Nicole's won it 4 times. So maybe one day, Aisling O'Connor on a Top Bet horse will be on the Roll of Honour.
Yeah, no, I must say, like my little baby sisters won it, and we were so proud of her. That was a fantastic day for our whole family. She's top qualifier again today, so we'll be screaming at the top of our lungs. And
Let's
I just
talk
think it's
about Baby
wonderful.
Sister. What a role she's been on, and what a mare she has this year at Funnerby. And we're going to hopefully talk to Kelly a little bit later. But last year's winner, and then a 2-time SA Champs winner, 2 times Bloberg Cup. I mean, she's just
It's just a
on
partnership
fire.
that I think, hopefully not once in a lifetime, for her and Hera, but she's riding that wave while she's got it. She looks after that horse like gold. And I think the two of them, their temperaments are very similar. They kick and bite. The one's just a bit rounder
I
than
heard
the
that
other.
was an O'Connor general temperament, actually.
Maybe, yeah. And it's just beautiful to watch their partnership.
Well, tell us about the family, because you're from a horsey background. Mom Celeste was a racehorse trainer. I'm sure she rode
Yes,
as well.
she rode in the first jockey race in South Africa. She was a racehorse trainer. She trained for her father mostly from Rankiesfontein. And we started riding since before we were even in nappies. I mean, we came out and just started getting led around. It's been fabulous. My family have been horsey the whole time, and no one's ever said we're not allowed to ride. So it's always been encouraged, and it's just a beautiful
But you
thing
took
we
to the
have.
sport horses. Racing was never your calling, like your mum? Or
I was a
none
bit
of
big
the
to be a
sisters?
jockey, Aidan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm talking about maybe training or anything.
No. I think our passion's always been show jumping. Like they forced us to do equitation growing up, but and eventing.
Kelly could probably have been
Kelly
a jockey,
could have
mind
been a
you, but it's a
jockey,
good thing
yeah.
we didn't, because then we wouldn't have her in the show jumping ring. And
Be a
Top
lot
Bet,
richer.
yeah. Top Bet, tell me about the company. First of all, big thank you for the sponsorship. The Top
Pleasure,
Bet's now the
pleasure.
Top Bet bank and panels. We see the lovely soccer ball on the panels behind us
Yeah.
as well, so it's looking good. You happy?
Yes, definitely, and I think it's so nice how everyone's pulled together this year. Without it being a headline sponsor for Derby, I think people were a bit worried that it was going to be a disaster, but being
That's
here...
worried. We were very worried.
Yeah, very worried. It's fabulous. I think it's our VVIP that we've been spoiled with to say thanks is exquisite. We can see every single jump on the course. Our whole family's here. I mean, it's a beautiful day to be at Derby. It looks
Yeah.
spectacular.
Well, there is the Top Bet bank and panels. You can see the soccer ball I was talking about, and of course the horses will have to come through the 2 big billboards at the top.
I think it's quite fitting. The top of the top bet bank. I think it has a ring to it, don't you think? Tell me about the company. What do Top Bet do?
So we are sports betting and numbers betting business that we have been working in. My dad started it, and we've been involved in the business now for my older sister 17 years, myself 15 years. We've expanded. We've got shops through Limpopo and Johannesburg. People come and place their bets with us on soccer and lotto and horse racing. And it's a thriving business in South Africa at the moment.
Yeah.
So Touchwood.
So how many shops throughout the country, and then you've got an online footprint as well?
Yeah, so we currently have 17 stores, and we have an online a website that people go and they play on their phones.
And how does it all work? What sort of betting do you offer? What sports are available?
We
Is it
can
right across
literally
anything?
bet on flies racing each other.
So if I phoned you and I say, listen, I like something, could you accommodate?
Absolutely,
you'll take
you
the
can
bet.
phone us anytime for any bet,
Right.
and it's very rare now that there's something that you'll find that there's no betting available for. Betting has boomed over the past few years.
Yeah.
I mean, they were betting on the royal family, whether Archie was going to be a girl or a boy, and what colour outfits Granny was going to wear to the wedding. So, you can bet on anything.
Now, you're a betting family. You've had a look at the field. Let's go through it very quickly. Wonder. Wonder's been an unlucky horse in the Derby. Has had a foot in the water, rail here and there. Has been...
I think Wonder's best performing show has been Derby over the year. I think this is about their 4th Derby together. And I mean, in horse racing, your number 1 draw is always the one that, if there's someone hidden in the field, number 1 might come flying through. So that could be
How
Liam
would you price
and
up
Wonder.
Liam and Wonder?
No, I can't give
3 to 1?
pricing. Yeah,
I'd
I
say 3 to
think
1 is
that they're
probably a
in
little
with a
bit
good
generous.
shout.
Yeah.
I also think 3 to 1's a bit generous on their day. They're really fast, really careful, and really
Of
brave.
those there, Shaitan Hendricks, Rainer
Shaitan and
Korber,
Casper,
Domini
exciting-
never won it. I mean, he'd
Never
be
in his whole
hungry.
life.
He's been second quite a
there's
few
a lot
times.
Of
Lorette's
experienced
been a winner.
riders with new horses. I love Loretta and Equistro. And if anyone can pull a rabbit as well, it's Law on the big day. She's won Derby before.
You
and
fancy them?
I do. I think they're the dark horse of the competition.
I would put them a 7 to 1 chance.
Yeah, they're definitely an outsider, but that stallion loves that woman more than a lot of horses love their riders. And I've seen him over the past few months really try his guts out for her.
Well, let's update to the second page. So that's I think of the first page, I would make Liam, possibly Chaitin and Casper my bet
absolutely.
on that first
Like
page.
Govert says, in the first 4 horses, if we don't have a clear, because it's such a strong field this year, actually, he'll be very surprised.
Christine Smith, Lloyd Nichols, Nicole Horwood. She rides Hitoshi this time around. I think that's a sneaky chance right there, to be honest.
Absolutely. As well as Ronnie and Cat Weasel.
Cat Weasel, not for me today, I'm afraid.
Little
but,
horse with a big jump and big heart, and I think Ronnie's
Ronnie's been around a few
do
times. He knows a thing
and
or
we
two.
all want Ant and Sherman to go well. I think they'll have a beautiful round
Yanni
today.
Kleinant's going to be riding for his life.
Oh, Chili Wax, one of my favourite horses, so I always shout from him. For him from the side.
Foreigner, big jumper, suits a Derby track. So
Absolutely.
some possibilities there as well. There's a few lurkers in this pack. Dominic Alexander Athena, so he's got 2 chances this afternoon.
Yes, Athena also moving up into the bigger classes.
Barry Taylor, how would you place him counter attack?
Oh, I better say he's my favourite. Probably going to win it. I couldn't even price him up.
Okay, you're going to say he's going to win it over your sister who's defending a title. So
She's the
either
one-
way, you're in a rock and a hard place.
He's still
here.
feeding my horses at the moment,
Oh,
so
okay.
Baz for the win.
Ronnie Lawrence, a 4-time winner. Nicholas Sam Riley, she's won it 2 years ago. And El Paso Connoisseur today, who's been a runner-up. I mean, he's knocking on the door
Sam is
every
always
time.
there, for sure.
Daniel Machine, 3 down last year. Could be a lurker. The horse likes.
Yeah.
And then Chris van der Merwe, Crashman.
You can never write Chris off. Crashman won a qualifier in the Hamburg Derby
Page
before.
all to herself. Kelly
There's
O'Connor,
Kelly
for
and
my
Hera
money,
van der
I'd
Veen.
make her almost an even money favourite.
On par
I
with
think
Barry.
highest qualifier.
Absolutely.
She's going to come out fighting today.
Definitely. I think she's prepped herself for the show. She's prepped her horse for the show. I mean, they've all been on vitamins, collagen.
So she takes this seriously,
Yeah,
huh?
no, runs on the treadmill every night.
Really? Is she ever in the office? I mean, because there's the...
Oh, no. That's,
Oh, right.
yeah, she's not an office girl, but that's okay. She's more of an arena girl.
Everything has been absolutely wonderful talking to you.
Thank you, Aidan.
We
Thank
wish
you.
you a wonderful day. Thank you for the sponsorship.
Good luck to everyone. So
Top
exciting.
bets.
Cool.
We're hoping for a great class. I'm sure it will be, and
Yeah.
and hopefully come the end, it's an O'Connor
It's an
Victory.
O'Connor victory, and she defends her title.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Lovely
Aidan.
chatting
Thank
to you.
Take care.
That's Aisling O'Connor, and of course, Top Bet, the sponsor of the bank and the panels. More sponsors, more interviews coming up after the break. We'll be with you shortly. Don't go away. Welcome back to this live broadcast brought to you by Capital Stud. Things are heating up in this Bob Charter Arena as we gear up towards Derby 2019, coming a little bit later on. Before we get there, the skydivers coming down in aid of the Highveld Horse Care Unit. Behind me, lots of cheering going on for the complete horse. So lots of fun being had by all. If you can't be here, of course, you've got the live stream broadcast. You've got us for company. On my right-hand side, Govert Triggle. Great to have you here. Why are you not riding?
Thanks, Aidan. Yeah, it's. I thought about it, but my horses haven't been back for a full year yet. I'm still battling to get them consistent in normal classes, which only consists of 12 jumps, 13 jumps. Yeah. And this is a big ask. So I think if you want to be competitive in this class, you need a fit horse, an established horse. And I think next year I'll be here. Next year my horses will be up and running and fitter and acclimatized and all of that. And this heat for horses that haven't been in the country for a year is too much.
I'm sure some viewers are sitting out there saying, well, where have you been? When you say you haven't been back for a year yet, where were you? What were you doing? What was the campaign all about?
It was a bit of an adventure. I think I'd reached a stage in business where I could take a bit of time away. I had a very good CEO running the business. And I wanted to always see the world and have fun doing what I love doing most, my sport, my passion, my horses. And I got a little truck and traveled around Europe and went from show to show and got to see the world and enjoyed my horses.
And you're back now. How many horses did you bring back?
I brought back 7 horses. Yeah. I've given one to Barry to ride. I've given one to Caroline Dupree, who's just come to ride. And then the other 5 I've given Aisling one to ride. And I've kept 4 for myself. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. New look Derby. It's a new feel in 2019. What are your impressions so far?
I think everybody was worried what was going to happen with not having a headline sponsor. But I think all the small sponsors getting together. Great idea having every jump, and I think what makes it more special is that people support the Derby. Look at these crowds. We never see these crowds as riders in the year, and it's fantastic to see. The atmosphere is wonderful.
Well, we do have a shot of your jump. You sponsor the water jump. Obviously, Rionet, and there it is. There are your boards. It'll now be known as the Rionet water jump, and quite fitting that it's the water jump, Govert, because Rionet. Well, you tell me.
Yeah, we're in the energy and water efficiency business, so it's fitting for us to have the water jump. You know, we go to big users, people that spend a lot of money on water and electricity, and we reduce their
Isn't
expenditure.
That everybody nowadays? With the bills
It is.
going up?
We're very fortunate. The market's been very good to us. Eskom's been very good to us with the tariffs, and the water tariffs keep going up. So business is booming.
So if people want to bring down their energy consumption or the energy usage, what do? They contact you? You guys come out?
Yeah,
and
they contact
advise?
us, and we take care of everything from the municipal meter, because a lot of areas are at the municipal level. Similarly with water, the older a water meter gets, the more inaccurate it gets. So we start there and we work our way through the whole property, looking at every aspect. We break it down. We measure buildings individually, who's costing what. We do on billing for a lot of the shopping centres as well. So it's an end-to-end solution. And our business model is not one where we charge for anything. We take a percentage of whatever we save.
Yeah.
So we stand behind our product. So you are better off. The client is better off from the minute we walk through the door.
And is this for only big companies or small consumers as well? I mean, if I wanted to go, my water bill's through the roof, can I call you up? Would you come out and
Absolutely. Have a look? I mean, we'd look at everybody, because you know, it's a percentage. It's a percentage game. We take a percentage of what we save. So if we save on a big client only a 10% saving, on a small person where everything is incorrect and is wrong, we could save 80%. So the monetary value could be very similar.
So for people who are interested, what do we do?
You just go. We go onto we've got a website, rionet.co.za, and all the contact numbers are there. Phone in. We'll send our technicians out to have a look and see what we can do for you.
Wonderful. Let's take a quick look at the Derby field for 2019. Who's the lurker in the pack, and who's Govert's choice?
I think you got three very good horses to start off with.
Yeah.
You know, Wanda's been around here before, and she's a very good horse. Casper with Shaitan, a new jockey. That would also be Clooney. Raycorb is a genius on horse. I would think that I like Capital Chili Pepper. I mean, the horse is, I know it's very green at this level, but it's a very, very nice horse. You can never write off Nicole Horwood. You know, Nicole and Gonda, they know Derby like nobody else knows Derby. That horse will have prepared for the show, and you know, we know Nicole. It will be done properly. So she would be a threat. The experienced guys, I would think Ronnie Lawrence would have done his prep. Nicola Connoisseur was second last year, I think. So it also knows the game, and then obviously Hera van der Been is at the moment the form horse in the country. I would, if we don't get, out of the top three, we'll see how strong this track is. The top three will tell us, but if there's not another clear round, Hera will jump clear today.
And of course, Derby's Derby. You can always throw up a result. It's a different field today.
Yes.
It's festive. We've got banners, we've got flags, we've got an atmosphere. So
and the heat, I would think that a horse has to be. We'd have to look at. I know that horses like Clooney and Casper have jumped one class. In the heat today, it's a long track. That could count in their favour if they've done their homework.
Well, it's been wonderful chatting to you. Enjoy the VIP. I'm sure you're suffering from a bit of FOMO. You'd rather be out there riding,
Absolutely.
but there's always next year when the horses are fit and ready.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you very much.
That's Govert Triggle, and we went out to Capital Stud. Of course, Capital Stud bringing you this broadcast for 2019. Four-time winner of the Derby is Nicole Horwood. She also rides for the Capital Stud. We got a chance to chat to her earlier on in the week.
Lisa's on 30 seconds coming down here. There's not a lot in it. And let's count. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow! She's done it! She's done it! 41.81, another 3 seconds faster, and that is your winner. That is your unbelievable winner.
I think it's been about 13, 14 years now. I was too nervous to approach Henning myself, so I actually got Gonda to approach for me. I'd spotted Capriccio, Capital Capriccio, he's in the background there, in the ring, and I just thought he was the most amazing horse and I'd love to ride him, and I heard Henning was looking for a rider. So Gonda approached him, and yeah, that's where the journey began. So I got Capriccio when he was quite old, so we had about 3 years of competing successfully in the 1.40 m classes. When it was coming to the end of his career, Henning said to me, you know, he's got this horse on the farm, I must come and have a look at it, it's the next Capriccio. So I came out to the farm, I saw this tiny little horse in the stable that looked like an Arab, and I wasn't so sure about it, but I said to Henning, okay, let me give it a bash. I didn't have anything else to ride. So I took him and I started schooling him and working with him, and then I realized that he was something special. An incredibly sensitive horse, but I think that's what makes him so good. It was a long journey with him. I had to take it very slowly because he was so sensitive. He relied a lot on me for my confidence, to give him confidence. But you know, that was easy. He's an amazing horse. He's helped me realize all my dreams, all my goals. He's a legend of the sport, and it was a long journey, but it was so worth it. I mean, I think he's changed South African sport. He's really sweet. He's my prince. He really is. He's not a nasty stallion. He's a sweet stallion. He's a giving stallion. He's easy to work with on the ground. But as I said before, he relies on me a lot. You've got to 100% believe in yourself so he can believe in himself. He really tries hard. He's exceptionally careful. He doesn't want to knock a fence, and he's getting on in years now, but he had those 4 Derby wins, and every time he won the Derby, I felt like he was fighting like a lion for me. You know, he wanted to win, and every time he stepped into the Derby arena, small as he is, he grew 2 hands. He thrives off the crowd, and he absolutely loves his job, so I know he doesn't want to retire. Every win has been special, but I have to say the first time. I mean, it was my first Derby. It was his first Derby. I didn't know what to expect. I actually just wanted to get through the finish safely. So to jump the only clear round on the day, I mean, even in my interview, I could barely speak. I was just so shocked. I mean, I think I trotted out of there as white as a sheet. But I have to say, I think it was that first one. I was on cloud 9 for a very long time. After that, again, every win is special, and for him to win 3 in a row, I mean, what a legend. And then 2 years later, another one. He's just an amazing horse. I think it's every young rider's childhood dream to win the Derby. I mean, I remember as a youngster watching the Gondas and the Barrys and at the Derby and just thinking, wow, being in absolute awe of them. I think it's just, it's one of the biggest equestrian events on the calendar. There's just so much to the Derby. There's so much prestige behind it. There's so many people come and watch. There's such an electric atmosphere. And I almost feel every time I go in, the crowds ride with me. They literally ride every jump with you. So it's such a special show. He's got an injury, and we thought we could nurse him to the Derby, but it's not to be. But I do have another ride. I have Capital Hitoshi, and I did my last Derby practice yesterday, and he feels like he's on form. He's been placed in 2 Derbies, actually. He does really well at the Derby, so I'm crossing fingers and toes this year for him. I knew he was special from the beginning. As Henning mentioned, he bought him on an auction. He was actually the cheapest of the 3. He saw something in the horse that other people didn't see. And the first time I sat on him, I knew he was different. He was a machine. I mean, he was so well balanced. He had such a quality canter. He just got everything I asked him to do. He got it immediately. I mean, there was a stage where I actually had to step back because he just did everything. We had to kind of just take it slowly because there was nothing that he couldn't do. He won a couple of Grand Prix, and we knew he was special. I mean, he could canter slowly into a 1.50 m ox and make it look like it was 120. He cantered around his first Derby in a little snaffle with me. I mean, I'm tiny. He just cantered around like he was jumping a 120 track. So we knew he was special. Then what an amazing story to go from South Africa, and what an amazing ending to be in the Gate Stable Yard. And I think he's invaluable purely because You know, anything you ask him, he will do. He will jump anything. 1.60 meters with a professional, with an amateur. I mean, he's been with Harry Smulders, he's now with Jennifer Gates. So I think that's where his true value lies.
That the brilliant Nicole Horwood, a 4-time Derby winner, all of those 4 wins coming on the wonderful capital Don Camarco. Absolutely brilliant. But Gonda on my right-hand side, first of all, a great pleasure to have you with us, the doyen of South African show jumping, absolute legend. A lot of that brilliance has to be attributed to you, because you guys have worked together for so many years. You've been on this journey together. You know both the horse Don Camarco and Nicole, their idiosyncrasies, their strengths, their weaknesses. A big journey.
A long journey. I think it's almost 20 years. Nicole worked for me at one time. In fact, I think she virtually came out of school, and she came up to me and she worked for me for a couple of years. And then she went out of it for a little bit, and then she came back into it again. And since she came back into it, which was at least 20 years ago, yeah, she and I have been a pair all the time.
And as she alluded to in that video segment, that as a shy young thing, she was underneath your wing and said, please go and speak to Henning for me, try and get me the ride. And so you've been so instrumental in her career, getting her along the way, shaping her, moulding her. It's been great.
Well, I think Henning has been an amazing sponsor to her. She's had some wonderful horses. It's just sad that Don Camarco is not here now, because he'd won the 3 derbies in a row and then missed a year, I think it was, and won again. Yeah. So that's 4. And Hitoshi's been placed a couple of times, but he's not Don Camarco. Yeah. But Henning has been amazing, and she's had some lovely horses from Henning. And let's hope now that Don Camarco and Hitoshi are getting on a little bit in years, that maybe a replacement will come along.
I'm sure they will. With the strength of Capital Stud and what they're breeding and their stock that they've got available, I'm sure it's going to happen. And then, of course, Coronado. That's another part of the story between you and Nicole and Henning and the Capital Stud. What? A success story. It's a dream story. Where he's come from, where he is today. Give you a big thrill?
Yes, because the first time virtually the first time he jumped anything of any height, I mean like sort of 1 meter, I turned around to Henning and 1 or 2 other people, as well as Nicole, and I said, that horse is outstanding. That is going to be the best horse you've ever had. And they laughed at me, because they said, oh, the horse is jumping 1 meter. What are you talking about? I loved him from the first time I saw him. I was very sad when he was sold overseas, because he was such a lovely combination with Nicole. But now he's done exceptionally well. Yeah, and his career is going from strength to strength.
Just looks like the perfect jumping horse. He just
he's a divine horse, absolutely divine. Yeah. He does everything right.
Let's now talk about you and your Derby career, because you're a 6-time winner. Yeah. Nobody else even comes close. There's nobody on 5. There's a couple on 4, but then there's Gonda Beatrix at the top of the tier. There's your career. 1967, Eldorado, you win. 76, Primus Format. That's Watchfire in the picture, your last win, and between there, Honey Girl was a 2-time winner in Isis Bridge. Is there a highlight? Is there a favourite in that list?
No, I don't think so. You know, all the horses were special to me. I didn't own Format. He was owned by Peter Levor's uncle and his father. Peter used to ride the horse, and then something happened and I ended up getting the ride. He was a very big, heavy German horse, which I battled a bit with. But the other horses
You battled with the horse?
Yeah, I'm sure. He was huge. But the other horses all belonged to me. Honeygirl was very special to me. Isis Bridge, interestingly enough, was the highest qualifier the year that they had the 5-way tie.
Yes.
And as I went into the arena, the clouds opened. And when I say they opened, it poured down, so much so that Isis Bridge, I think he had 1 or 2 fences, but he jumped straight into the water jump. You couldn't actually see the water. Just went straight over the brush into the water jump. But then he had a win with me after that. So.
Yeah. We're here at Kyalami Equestrian Park today, but all your wins happening at the old venue in Nanda. Comparisons between the 2 venues and the track, because that was a daunting track. We get a bit of a slope on the bank today, not so back there.
That ground was pretty unlevel compared to here. I mean, you've got the slope here, but you've also got level ground in between, whereas there were a lot of slopes. I think that the bank was almost more difficult because it was a sheer drop, you know, and the horses tended to sort of think that they were going to fall off the edge of a precipice, whereas here you go up to go down, and I firmly believe if you go up to come down, it's easier than if you suddenly find something that you've got to drop straight down. The Devil's Dyke was, I think, more difficult. I think this Devil's Dyke is now a bit higher. It was more difficult. It had a dirty, great big ditch at the bottom of it. It was very sloped. I think this one could be a lot sheerer. And it was right against the crowd. I mean, when I say right against the crowd, it was the dike, the fence, and people walking to get their seats right next to it. Exactly. And I think that, you know, this Derby track is a very, very testing track. That Derby track was a very testing track. I think horses that are jumping today at the top would have won then, and I think horses that were winning then would have won today. But they are a bit different.
And the quality of horses that we're riding today compared to then there were a lot more thoroughbreds in the class in the field, and if you had a warm blood, there were generally those big kind of Germanic, powerful power jumpers with not much speed. There's been an evolution in the game.
Yes, and you know, there are very few thoroughbreds jumping now. We had all thoroughbreds, and thoroughbreds are bred to race, not bred to jump. But we did follow several lines, stallion lines, that produced good jumpers.
Did the thoroughbreds still have their place?
Well, one or two of them, yes. I mean, Fountain of Love was just retired earlier today, and she's been an amazing mare. I mean, she was with somebody that I coached in Natal, and then I got her for somebody else, and then they eventually sold her to. I suggested to Bronwyn that she had a look at her, and she's really gone fantastically for Bronwyn. Yeah. But I think that, you know, the strength today is there are a lot of studs here, Callahoo, Capital Stud, and a lot of other studs that are producing top-class horses, not only with stallions and mares that they have, but with imported semen and so on. So it has changed. It's changed a lot.
One thoroughbred in the class today, the old boy Iron Ruler. You can't even rule him out at 23 years old.
No,
he's still game.
No, he's amazing, and I mean he's done so well in the past, and I think his rider was away for a while overseas, and she's back, and I mean, I think he won the first day. Yeah, he won one of the classes.
And they had the hack round for 3 down last year, so I mean, it's a course that he enjoys. Prep work for the Derby. What goes into it?
Prep work for the Derby. The horses need to be a bit fitter than when they're jumping normal tracks at normal shows, which are much shorter tracks. But I don't believe in over fitness. Certainly one needs to practice the funnies. The bank with that great big huge plank at the bottom of it. You know, you come down that bank, and the horses have got to come down balanced and not too fast and not too slow. If they're too slow, they're too far off the plank. If they're too fast, they're too close to the plank. You know, and that does cause, it has in the past caused a lot of problems, but in the last couple of years it hasn't. Very few horses have had it down.
What's the key there? To come off the bank before you get to the bottom, or it depends, I suppose, on the distance that the course designer, because they are able to change distances between. Can't change the look and feel, but there's distances they can.
The key to that is to come up to it, but not stop completely, giving them maybe a chance to look and step back. Because remember, if you step 1 foot back, you've got 4 penalties against you. So you need to come up to it not too fast, which frightens them. You need to come up to it and go down quietly, and then about 3/4 way down, the horse needs to jump off it, and then it's 2 steps, 2 strides, in other words, and over the plank. And then, of course, there's the dike and the St Andrews Cross, which is very narrow in the middle.
Key to riding the St Andrews Cross, because that's a jump we only see once a year, and it seems to suck you in. What's key to
ride that
there?
Is to be dead centre.
Yeah.
If you've got a horse that jumps a little bit to the side, you probably would have it down.
Like a spider
but to be absolutely dead centre, and also not to be too fast or to stand back too big at it. The other thing is, of course, you can't be too slow around this track because the time is very fast. You know, you've got to keep motoring, and when you keep motoring and you keep moving on at a faster speed than you would over normal tracks, obviously then the horses tend to maybe lose a little bit of balance and get a little bit too forward. So there's a fine line between going just that much too fast or fast enough.
Yeah. For you, was there ever a nemesis in terms of a jump, the jump that you either loved or hated in the Derby? I always, when in the old track, when you came down that hill, there was that massive hedge, the white poles and that massive hedge. To me, that was always a. But for you,
that hedge was a very difficult jump because you jumped on the lip of that
Yes.
of that slope down.
You came down
and
the
I
hill
can't remember,
running
it was
to it.
6, 7, 8
Yeah.
strides. I mean, you had to be positive down there. It was a horrible, and here you've just got some pot plants in,
Yeah.
whereas there it was a hedge that had grown for years and years and years. It was a big, thick, wide hedge. A lot of horses would jump it and kick
And they
back
never
into
cut it, you see, so every year it just got bigger and bigger as it grew.
and they would kick back into it thinking it was like a bank, you
Yeah.
know. No, I hated originally the cross, the St Andrews cross. I hated it. I had a horse once that jumped the first part of it, but jumped to the side and landed with his chest against the far rail, which gave me quite a fright. So that was the only thing that I didn't enjoy, was the St Andrews cross.
This new look derby, of course, with all the sponsors having their names next to the jump. I mean, obviously the economic times that we're in are difficult to get to big mainline sponsors. So gone for this new look. Will it affect horses? Does it affect riders in any way?
No, I don't think so, and I think it's a great idea because there are a lot of sponsors getting mileage out of it, and the jumps look so nice. I think with different sponsors' names on, I think it's really nice. I think it's a very good idea.
Now, Gonda, let's look at the field and take us through. I mean, Wanda been unlucky, but got the mileage.
Yes,
Is there
unfortunately,
too much mileage on the
field is
now?
small this year because 1 or 2 horses have dropped out.
Yeah.
Wanda has had some pretty good rounds in the Derby. Casper, I'm not too sure of. Clooney, very good horse, and Ray rides him
Had a
beautifully.
few good rides around here. Could
Ray-
that be a lurker in the pack?
Definitely. And then, of course, Domini.
Domini's never won it. I mean, you've
I know
worked
it's
with Domini
ridiculous
for
that
many
he's
years.
it's
What's the
ridiculous
story
he's never-
there?
I don't know. It's just the luck or the bad luck of the game, I think, as far as Domini's concerned, because he's a very good rider and he's had some good horses.
Yeah.
But he just hasn't won it. Maybe this time.
Do you get, I mean, what sort of a temperament does a person have to have for Derby? I'm asking this, and this is no disrespect for Domini, I'm not saying anything to do with Domini, but do you get riders who are Derby riders, that they're more just suited in terms of their temperament? What does it take? I'm asking, do you have to be brave or?
No, I think that any top athlete has to have no fear at all.
Yeah.
You have to be completely cool.
Yeah.
To me, I've always said an athlete and a businessman is exactly the same thing. You have to be focused and you have to be ice cold and no nerves and that sort of thing. And Dominic, I'm sure,
Domini's
he's ice cold and he doesn't
just-
have nerves, but
just bad
just
luck.
Bad luck, yeah.
Just never had the luck on the day, I guess.
Loretta's on a difficult horse, which she has only had, I think, now for about a year. Very difficult horse. She's done a very good job, she and Barry, with the horse. Horse is going very well. I don't know if he's jumped a Derby before. He might have jumped last year with the previous owner. So I don't know. Michelle Fleming's horse, I don't really know. Nicole is down to 1 horse. You know, her top horse, Don Camargo,
Yes.
Capital Don Camargo, not being here.
But nothing wrong with Hitoshi. I mean, he's not
Nothing
Don
wrong
Camargo,
with
like you
Hitoshi.
say.
She's in with a very
big
good chance,
yeah.
but she doesn't have a second ride. It's very nice to have a second ride.
So who would be your pick?
Well, you know, going through it again, Tara Lowe, the horse is jumping exceptionally well. She's from Cape Town.
That's a big
She's
jumper.
a
That would
pupil of
suit a
mine.
Derby track.
It would suit it. I think he might have been around 1 Derby track before. So, you know, I mean, she could be a very strong outsider.
Yeah.
When I say outsider, because she's not up here in the loop all the time competing and that sort of thing. But I think that could be a strong outsider. Ronnie, of course, has done very well in derbies. Has Ronnie not won 4 derbies?
4 derbies.
Yeah, so Ronnie would be a very, very strong one to watch.
And he's been very well placed on that.
He's been
horse
very
a
well
number of
placed.
times.
Nicola, unfortunately, her grey horse, El Paso, has been injured and been out the whole year.
Yeah.
So she again also only has the
But
1
Connoisseur
ride.
also
But
suited to
Connoisseur's-
Dominic. He's been there or thereabouts a few times.
Connoisseur's very, and he's had a good show so
Yeah.
far. He's highly qualified.
And then, of course-
Arn Ruler we spoke about, who is old and grey.
Yeah, but could throw up a
But he
result.
could
You just
easily
never know.
throw,
Yeah,
easily
yeah.
throw up.
And then last
of
year's
course,
winner.
Christopher van der Merwe. Chris is an outstandingly good rider and he's had a very good year. My money would be on Kelly because she has been very successful this year. She and that horse are absolutely 100% at 1.
Yeah.
So my money, and she's the highest qualifier and she's got a very, very good temperament for the game. So my money would really, I think, be on her.
Fantastic. Well, she would be. I would make it a 2-horse field,
possibly a 3-horse field. Kelly O'Connor, Ronnie Lawrence, I think, is hungry and wants a 5th. And I'm hoping Dominic comes to the party in
crack it this
2019.
time.
Maybe it's his year. Gonda, it's been wonderful talking to you. And before you go, of course, coaching these days, and yesterday, what a result for you. 6 top 5 and 5 trained by you.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. I was so pleased. I mean, I was just a bit disappointed that the second horse wasn't mine as well.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
It was a clean-up. But anyway, I'm down a bit on horses in the Derby. I've only got the 3 in, which normally I have about 7 in.
Yeah.
So yesterday, I think, was my day.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Anything can happen. And just incidentally, last time you sat on a horse was when? Do you ever ride these days?
I retired in '96, and I haven't sat on a horse for 15, 17 years. Because I fly between Cape Town. I live in Cape Town. I fly between Cape Town and Joburg literally weekly to either coach or come to these shows.
Wonderful having you here. Enjoy
Thank
the
you.
rest of the day. Legend of the sport, ladies and gentlemen, Gonda Beatrix. Her pick, Kelly O'Connor, to defend her title. Coming up after the break, we speak to that very person, Kelly O'Connor.
Downings is the leading marquee infrastructure company in South Africa, unmatched in creativity, innovation, and technical capability. Our event marquees and semi-permanent structures bring style, quality, and 20 years of expertise to any project. We offer state-of-the-art tailored marquee structures with world-class sophistication to amplify any celebration, corporate event, or commercial project. Downings, your countrywide marquee specialists.
Welcome back to this live broadcast brought to you by Capital Stud, gearing up to the big one, the Derby for 2019. Not too far away now. Last year's winner, Kelly O'Connor, out to defend your title. What a run you've been on with this spectacular mare. First of all, tell me the story about this mare. Where did you get her? How long have you had her?
I've had Hero since she was a 4-year-old. She's 12 years old now this year. I was riding for a stud farm in Belgium, and the owner came back one day and said he'd just seen the most incredible horse. And I begged him not to go buy her because I was riding so many 4-year-olds, a lot of them stallions. So I had my hands really full. And he decided the next week, no, it's a good idea, we're going to buy her. And that's how Hero came into my life.
Never looked back, thank goodness you did.
Yeah, thank heavens.
And your history in the saddle, you say you've ridden in Belgium. Just a recap of your career before you came back to South Africa.
Yeah, so I grew up in South Africa, and then I'm fortunate enough to have an Irish passport. So when I was 17, my parents shipped me off to Ireland, and they decided, and with me of course, that we were now going to go on this journey and travel across Europe. So I became Irish, and I traveled with the Irish team as a junior and a young rider. I did make an Adult Nations Cup team, but unfortunately my horse at that time went lame. And then it was a very tough decision where to go from there. So I ended up going over to Belgium and learning young horses. And that was incredible. And then unfortunately after my dad passed away, I decided to come home, back to my family and just back to my roots.
Yeah.
And I haven't regretted it.
Yeah.
any plans in the future to possibly have another assault on Europe?
Always. I have a big bug to constantly try travel. So what I've done is I've bought a 6-year-old in Europe, and she'll stay there at the owner actually that found Hira. And I'll pop over every now and again, compete a little bit, and just have a bit of fun.
So are you crisscrossing back and forth in the current time, or are you just waiting for it to progress a little bit before you...
I'll probably pop over at the end of November, and I'm looking to maybe do a tour in January and February with her.
Brilliant. So it's riding, riding, riding. That's your passion. That's your life. Let's recap your results with this wonderful mare, Hira. 2 times, so 2017, we go to 2017, yeah. South African Championship winner. 2018, you win the Derby. Yeah. The Bloberg Cup twice, and now 2019, again the South African Championships.
Yeah.
And you'd love to win the Derby again today. How's your prep going?
Our prep's been fantastic, which sometimes is a little bit worrying because you don't mind having to fight a little bit when you go into a track like this.
Yeah.
But I haven't had any incidents. Hira's come out brave as a lion and fighting. So we're just going to give it our all today.
Take us back to 2018. Going in, had you ridden you hadn't ridden here around the Derby before, but you had a ride before quite a few years. That was 2008, I think.
2007.
2007.
Yeah.
That was your first ride in the Derby, and last year was your second.
Yes.
So a big gap between the two. Second time you come out and you win it.
Yeah.
Did you expect the win? Were you?
No, not at all. I actually expected to die. Because we at our first Derby training, Domini, we had a wall up, and Domini said, you know, just canter to it. So I did, and I was slotted straight into it. So he said, no, pop me back on, just trust her this time, she'll do it. So I trust my coach, and he told me to trust her, so I did, and I went face first into the wall again. The third time, I came as fast and hard as I could. And she didn't, I think we actually went semi over it that time.
Semi-over.
Yeah,
you left the brick or two.
Yeah, I hung on, and so that was the wall, and then the star, because it's such an unusual fence and she's so careful. This is the first year we've trained it where she hasn't had a look at it. But you can never underestimate the star.
Yeah. Anything in the Derby that, obviously, maybe the wall you now found a little bit daunting, but anything that scares you, that you worry about, or do you just go in there and it's fence by fence?
You know, every fence is a concern. Hira is a very careful mare, even though she's so brave. So our training's always to make her confident. But I think you cannot underestimate a single fence, because there's not one fence in the Derby that's a breather.
Yeah.
I think every single fence, even jump number 1, it's a challenge.
Yeah. You've got to be on your A game right from the beginning.
Yeah.
And last year, tell us about the mare. What's she like to ride? She looks like she's fun to begin with, because she can just do anything. Super careful, super blooded, takes you to the fence.
Yeah.
But is that an advantage or a disadvantage at a course like this, because of the big distances between fences? Perhaps she can run a little bit and just get a little bit strong. Is she a strong mare at all?
She is. She loves to run at the base. It gives her confidence. So the trick really that we figured out is allow her to take those few steps, and then you just fight. We do so much training to constantly put her on her hook.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, I know her so well, it's second nature now to fight for that little bit of up movement with her. But I definitely think it is a positive.
Well, if there was ever a horse and rider that you said, yeah, those two suit each other, because you just looked suited. You, like your sister was on earlier, she said, well, you're the same person. You're both small, you're both fiery, you're both cheeky, and that's why you're such a dynamic pair.
Yeah, thank you.
So having a look at the field, obviously we're going to take you out. I think you've got huge chances. If I was a betting man, you would be my choice.
Thank
Who else?
you.
Who's your big rival?
I have to support my coach, Domini. I've seen his prep. He looks strong. He looks ready.
He's got 2 rides. Who are we talking about?
Athena's the higher qualifier, but I wouldn't take Gulliver out. I would like to back Gulliver. I think he's a horse that suits this track. And I think Dom and Gulliver have R&R Gulliver have a really good chance.
But if it's not you, it's Domini. But obviously, we're rooting for Kelly. Been absolutely fantastic chatting to you. We're going to have to move along. And of course, you've got to go and get ready and get your game face on. All the best today. We wish you the best.
Thank you, Aidan. Thanks.
This broadcast brought to you by Capital Stud. Their big auction happening on the 15th and 16th of November. So that's not too far away. We got a chance to go out and have a look at some of the prep work going into the auction that's happening in the not too distant future.
Selling horses out of hand is quite a challenging task. So the concept of having an auction is ideal, where you present all your horses at the same time and people come to have an enjoyable event. So it's not just buyers that come to the sale. There's a lot more people, and it becomes a yearly event that nobody wants to miss. So yes, we've had 2 sales and it went very well. The first year was the most challenging year, where we had to have it in the open, but I think it was also the nicest one. So this year's the 3rd year, and every year is a challenge to prepare the horses, to get all the horses ready at the same time. There's a huge amount of activities that you have to manage, but at the end of the day, I think it's the most ideal concept. The horses that goes on the sale are mainly the horses from the same year's breeding. We try and present the horses at an age where they are ready for a potential buyer to get onto them and prepare them for a show. So it's quite a task to get them all ready at such a young age. Obviously, the longer you keep them, the easier it is, but the more expensive it becomes. So ideally you want to get them all sold by the age of 5, but 6 would have been more ideal. But it means you've got to keep them for 1 year longer, which at the end of the day is a financial issue. The program used to be loose jumping on the 16th, and then the Saturday we had to fill in with under saddle presentation and stallion presentation, and then the auction. We have decided to try and do away with the loose jumping and do the presentation of the under saddle on the Friday evening. That makes the Saturday a lot shorter, because it used to be a very long day, and by the end of the sale people are tired and bored sitting around for the whole day. So this year we're going to present them on the saddle on the Friday, have the stallion presentation on the Saturday morning, have a little bit of a break for people to have something to eat and to enjoy the day, and then start with auction. My goal is to breed horses that compare with the best in the world, and that's a big ask. So, and a huge task. You have to collect the right bloodlines. You've got to be able to use the right stallions. For us in South Africa, it's a challenge because the protocol to get semen here from Europe from the better stallions is quite an issue. But ultimately, we try and have horses on the auction that are the best that we possibly can offer. Therefore, I have a breeding operation in Belgium where I keep a certain number of mares, and all those foals come here and they get produced here and get sold on the auction. No horse gets sold out of the auction. Every single horse goes through the auction, and that gives people the opportunity to be able to bid on the best. You need to go online and book your seat, and you can also book the tryouts online. Go to the website, and people will be assisted at Derby with their bookings. People must come to the Derby stand, and there will be people there that will assist them to do the booking for the seating as well as the tryouts. Again, we have a stand at the Derby where there will be people available that will guide every single person that is interested in purchasing a horse. So it's very important that we make sure that people choose the right horse so that it's a win-win situation at the end of the day.
Back live with us here at Kyalami Equestrian Park as we build up towards the big one, the Derby for 2019. Still lots happening. We've got a fundraising drive for Highveld Horse Care Unit. Some skydivers are going to drop in, and that in association with 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day. Wonderful prizes on offer, a 30,000 Rand Canon camera. So lots to look forward to, but it's all about the sponsors here. It's the sponsors' derby. It's the people's derby. Lots of new sponsors have come to the party, and the man on my right-hand side, one of them, Mark White. Lovely to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
Looking
Thanks,
resplendent in your red, as is your jump. Are you happy?
I'm very happy, thank you, Aidan.
Mark, how did you get involved in equestrian sport? Because it's been a while now, but you don't come from an equestrian background at all.
At all, no. It's 10 years now.
So who do we need to sucker punch for getting you involved? Spending
Mike
all
Woodfield
your money, right?
of Nissan South Africa. Yeah, make a note. He's the man. So 10 years ago, they started with the Easter Festival, Nissan, and we did our first presentation or our display here, and it's been ever since. And then I got suckered into, Nicole came to see me, and I sponsored Nicole Horwood. And
can I also come and see you? Are you
yeah. Thank you. So yeah, now I've got a couple of horses. I'm involved with Capital.
Oh no, you bought the horses
No,
as well?
I didn't buy a horse. No. Capital's horses.
Okay.
Good rider.
Right.
So
but you're
that's how
enjoying it. I mean,
we love it.
you
You know, the reality is we wouldn't do it if the equestrian people don't support back.
Yeah.
The reality is they do.
Yes.
They've been wonderful to me. They've really have supported me as a business, and that I'm eternally grateful for. So, you know, that's the reason why we give back to the sport.
Well, you sponsor the road crossing here, which I think is quite apt, road crossing, and you deal with motor vehicles.
Well spotted, Aidan. I didn't think about road there, but
No, there was method in my madness when I called you and said, hey, Mark, we need help.
Yes, and Nicole actually chose road crossing, as you know.
Very generous of you. Now, tell us about these wonderful vehicles. You're a Nissan dealership. Equestrian fraternity, I suppose, primarily looking for tow vehicles. What do you have in the market?
Yeah,
What's going to suit our needs?
We've really got two cars that can help with towing. That's obviously the Patrol, the 5.6 V8.
Yeah.
It's a very, very capable tower. And then obviously the Navara, which is a 2.3 bi-turbo. It's got a towing capacity of 3.5 tons. So it can do a double horse box with obviously two stallions or two mares in it, whichever. So it's very capable of towing. So those are our two vehicles that we have. But obviously we still got the balance of the range, which is where the guys really do support. They buy the little buckies from me. They've bought cars and cars for their daughters.
That's what I was saying.
No, guys have been very supportive. Companies that know that who are involved themselves in show jumping also support with their company purchases. So it's been a very good relationship thus far.
Yeah. And this vehicle, this beast that you've got parked, or it was parked on the back.
Yeah,
Oh, here it is.
it's
Right
moved
here.
to there now. Yeah.
If it was a snake, it would have bitten me.
That's the Nissan Navara Stealth, just launched, and that's our tow vehicle. And it's got a tow bar on, so we're ready to sell it today, maybe.
And of course, you've made it available to the winner of the class free of charge for 20.
Careful now, Ed. Get me into trouble.
There is the beast, there is the
Yeah.
Stealth, and I take that back. It's not been made available to the winner of the class.
Yeah.
All-encompassing vehicle, that's going to service
it's
all
got
your
everything.
needs, eh?
It's a 7-speed automatic, 2.3 engine,
What does that go
3.5
for?
tons. 580, 600, thereabouts.
But if I walk into that shop and I say, hey Mark, you know, I ride horses, they eat all my
hay,
hay, they cost me a lot every month, can you do me a deal? You're gonna,
I'm sure we'll do a good deal for you.
Yeah.
And
No, you've
I'm
been great
sure.
to the equestrian community. And Mark, we really appreciate it.
No, thank
we
you.
really appreciate this sponsorship. May it long continue. And of course, the Nissan Easter Festival, we'll see what happens there.
Yep.
Of course,
that'll be next year, hopefully. So we'll be back.
But
then
great
we'll
chatting
see.
to you.
No.
Before you go, what's your choice? Have you looked at the field? I suppose you're going to be
I've
biased.
only
You're
got
gonna tell
one
me-
choice.
You're going to tell me
Hitachi.
Nicole.
Nicole.
Right.
Nicole
Mark White,
Horwood.
Nissan's Capital, Hitachi. You
That's
have
the
to go
only
for
one
that
that I'd go for.
Yeah, you have
Obviously,
to.
unfortunately, Don Camarco not here,
Yeah.
injured, so it would have been a nice opportunity too, but he's not here. But obviously, I definitely have to go with Nicole for a win. If I have to go second, probably maybe an outsider somewhere. I'm not too sure. Maybe there's somebody out there. I
They've
haven't
said
seen
there's
the
a few.
whole
Well,
list.
there's another Nissan, and that is an outsider. Number
Yeah.
5, Nissan
Who's
Equestro
riding
van
in
de
that?
Mispelare. The Rittenhouse Tame.
Yeah,
Brita-
well then, we'll
Taylor
go with,
Brita
we'll
Star
keep
was the
it.
winner.
There we go. We'll
Yeah.
keep it in
Keep it with the Nissans.
family.
Yeah,
there we go.
So that's Mark's selection. He's going for Hitoshi, followed by Equestro van de Mispelare, the Nissan entries. Mark, it's been
Yeah,
absolutely wonderful.
Aidan, thank you.
Enjoy your
Appreciate it.
day.
We will, and thank you. I might see you
Brilliant.
now. Come and
Perfect.
watch from here. Take
Thanks
care.
very much to
Cheers,
Mark
guys.
White Nissan, and
Ciao.
thanks very much to Downing, studio supplied by Downing Event
Think
Hire.
you will
Such
want
a
this
wonderful.
back?
I'm not even sure you can call them marquees. Really, they are so elaborate. But that's where we perch. We've got a wonderful view over the arena. The grandstands are filling up. The atmosphere is getting very, very festive, and we look forward to a wonderful, wonderful derby coming up a little bit later. So for anybody who is interested, the HQ magazine, number 144, The Essential Guide to the Derby, from 1965 when the Derby first happened to 2019. That is available for purchase. Get yourself a copy. It's a limited edition, and 25 Rand of the 50 Rand that you will spend for that goes to the Highveld Horse Care Unit. The course walk comes up shortly, and the course designer and builder for 2019 is Anna-Marie Esslinger, and we happened to catch up with her earlier on.
The Derby is one of the most traditional courses in show jumping. Some derbies, like the Hamburg Derby, date back to 1926. And as such, it's the nearest amalgamation we have of show jumping and cross country. The course is set over hills, up and down, with several natural obstacles. 50% of the jumps, in fact, along the 18-numbered fenced 23-effort obstacle course that measures 1,000 meters in length are natural type obstacles. The track starts over fairly inviting 1 and 2, set around 150 in height, and going up the hill. The first test is at the Liverpool at 3, near the gate, which is a distraction for the horse, and with water. Then the horses turn left and jump up steps, and the hedge at 5 can also be a catchy one. Spectators are right next to it and often distracting the horse. The balustrade, with a drop behind it, often causes horses to drop their back legs, and the riders have to be quick, for the time allowed is measured at 400 meters per minute. They have to turn back to the road crossing. Substantial, but not too difficult. The St Andrew's Cross that comes next requires accuracy and straightness. Then it's left to the one that the spectators love and the riders dread. The bank, followed on 2 strides by the planks. The planks are on flat cups, they push off easy, and a lot of horses arrive without balance in a heap at the bottom of the bank. That's a challenge. The next fence at 11 is fairly straightforward. Then comes the Devil's Dyke. Over an entry that is downhill, we're putting a little bit more devil in the dike this year, with a ditch at the bottom and up at the back. They turn back to the stile, and on a numbered set of distances called a relate distance, to some more planks with a wide, flat oxer, easy to push a rail off. Then left to the water. The water obstacle coming late in the course, a tired horse won't make much effort, so very easy to incur penalties. The wall that's situated a close distance behind is the tallest fence on the course, usually at about 1.65 meters. And then it's a right turn for the home run, a double of gates, big and substantial, onto the last rustic oxer, often one of the widest, tallest fences. And again, horse and rider are tired, sometimes losing focus, and they have to have done their homework, be fit and prepared. Otherwise, it won't be that elusive one clear round that we'd love to have.
Downings is the leading marquee infrastructure company in South Africa, unmatched in creativity, innovation, and technical capability. Our event marquees and semi-permanent structures bring style, quality, and 20 years of expertise to any project. We offer state-of-the-art tailored marquee structures with world-class sophistication to amplify any celebration, corporate event, or commercial project. Downings, your countrywide marquee specialists.
Welcome back to live pictures here at the Derby for 2019. As you can see, one of the skydivers coming down. Two skydivers will be jumping. They've jumped out of a helicopter this afternoon. One of them is carrying Highveld Harry, and there are 3 prizes on offer, all in aid of the Highveld Horse Care Unit. So in association with 67 Blankets for Mandela Day, people have been asked to buy a blanket square for 100 Rand to get themselves into this draw. 3 prizes to be won. That first prize sponsored by Canon. A big thank you to them. A Canon 90D camera worth 25,000 Rand. Now, one of these skydivers is carrying Highveld Harry, I believe. And unfortunately, Highveld Harry going to take a bit of a dive himself. Sans a parachute. They're going to drop him down and see if that lands onto one of the squares. Let's see what happens. So this is the first skydiver down. I think it's Mark Trethewey. Let's see whose square he gets. So that then the lucky recipient of that 90D Canon camera. And the second skydiver, perhaps the second skydiver, is going to throw down Highveld Harry's shame. Poor Harry. There's the second skydiver. So the second prize, a spa day for 2, sponsored by Mangwanani. So somebody who's already claimed that 25,000 Rand Canon camera. Whoop! I think that was possibly Mark Trethewey. Now, what has happened to Highveld Harry? Where is he? Has somebody dropped Highveld Harry? Has he been dropped? He has been dropped. So Highveld Harry has plummeted down and will claim either the first prize or the third prize. I'm not quite sure. We'll see how it all plays out. But all this in aid of the Highveld Horse Care Unit. And ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to donate to the Highveld Horse Care Unit, go on and have a look at their website. So let's have a look at that name if we can get in closer. Lindsay Shelver, 0832253860. And everybody on air is now going to be phoning Lindsay Shelver for a dig at that Canon 90D. So there are 2 skydivers, one of them Mark Trethewey. Of course, most people know Mark Trethewey in the equestrian world here in South Africa as one of the leading farriers in the game. So big thank you to Mark and the skydive team who have jumped out of that helicopter. So Roger Bierman, he's now taken the name. We're going to try raise some more money for Highveld Horse Care. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, Highveld Horse Care, also in association with Econo Agri, sponsors the Balustrade Champion Derby 2019. If you want to know more about them, if you want to donate, go onto their website. It's highveldhorsecare.co.za, if I'm not mistaken. We'll get that website for you. Please, it's a worthy cause. So wherever you are around the world, these people do amazing work and always need assistance. They do work in South Africa, in the townships. They go out to Lesotho. There are so many, as much as we love our horses, there are plenty out there that are neglected and abused, and they do amazing work. So please, if you're in a position to contribute, look them up, Highveld Horse Care. If you do have a few shekels left over at the end of the month, do contribute, donate. We would appreciate it. So coming up next is the course walk for 2019. We've already had a chat to Anne-Marie Esslinger. Course walk will happen next. Don't go far.
Igama lami nguBheni wakwamabhena, ngihlala eSoweto eMletsani. So ngaya ngiyodlala eTop Bet, ngidlala wona ama-club lawa bedlala for the weekend, and ngenhlanhla leyo ngawina i-600,000. Ngiyabonga kakhulu Top Bet, ngingumuntu ngenxa yenu.
Well, it's time for the course walk here, Derby 2019. You've ridden this Derby 3 times. What are we in for? What are we looking at?
3 times. Ridden it 3 times.
Won it.
103 times.
Won it.
Okay. What are we in for? Well, you know, as we all know, the Derby course is the same every year, just that sometimes the dimensions change a little. And it's always an exciting thing. It's such an exciting class. And really, it's not the riders against each other. It's the riders against the course. You know, it depends on how experienced your horse is.
Right, well, we start off with jump number 1, and we're going to take you through the sponsors as well. Burlington Stables, Anne-Marie Esslinger and David Wilkin, big thank you to them. They sponsor jump number 1, the Stone Wall. And what are we looking here? Some people get lulled into a false sense of security with this one, and it does come down.
I think, you know, you want to start off quiet because it's such a long course. The horses tend to get stronger as it goes on. So you want to start quiet, and sometimes you can start a little too quiet and have it down.
Well, let's move on briskly. We've got 20 minutes to navigate our way around. And, of course, you are maimed. You are handicapped somewhat. So we'll have to walk a little bit quick. So up we go to jump number 2.
I mean, apart from my usual handicaps.
Apart from those, Gail. So up we go, jump number 2, up the hill. Here is David Wilkins, sponsor of jump number 1, the Burlington Wall. Looking resplendent, David, thank you.
Thank you.
Christine Smith, her first derby. Are you nervous?
Nervous and excited.
Go well.
Thank you.
Right, so on we go now to jump number 2, a very, very square oxer. Gail, keep up, keep up. Jump number 2, Manador. It's a stable yard. Big thank you to Renelle Gilbert and Kimberly Williamson. The Manador oxer, the KPC oxer, jump number 2. It's square, it's big.
Yeah, it's fairly straightforward though. It's a nice introduction to the rest of the course.
Coming up behind us, Dominic Alexander. You're going to get right this year.
Well, I've got 2 chances, so at least I hope so.
Go well. How are they feeling? Are they in good form?
Very good form, thank you.
Go well, Dom.
Thank you.
Right, so we continue walking around the back of the bank, and of course, big thank you to Stephen Atkinson and Haval. The Haval parked on the bank here. So we walk down towards the Liverpool, Gail. Where's your eye fixed? What sort of rhythm are we in when you come down this hill?
You want to be fairly forward, but you've got to keep the horse's head up because they tend to want to look down into the water tray. It's in a different placement. It's normally past the gate, so it's a little closer. I think it's in a good position. It's really well filled. I don't think this will cause any problem for anyone.
But apparently you have had a few mishaps at the Liverpool in years gone past.
Once only. Once I
heard Equifox should sponsor this jump because Gail's got such a long and historic association with this jump.
Just once, Aidan. Lindenberg thought I should take a closer look at the water, but he won it the year before. So
right, we're going to let all the riders walk on past us as we walk on down. Edgewise, ladies and gentlemen. Edgewise is the sponsor of jump number 3, the Liverpool. And if we come and look here, it's great to have Edgewise, a new sponsor in the game, and a big thank you to them, dealing in skills development and transformational BBBEE. So big thank you to Edgewise, as I seem to have lost Gail Foxcroft. Got to go and find her. There she is. So that's jump number 3, the Liverpool. So jump number 4 here, Gail, the steps. And this can get tricky.
this is tricky. They used the same distance at the old Derby in Nanda. They brought exactly the same distance, which was slightly long. So it's a very forward one stride or a very short 2. And you need to ride it forward. It's quite a big jump up. It's not just 2 little banks. And so often, if the horses are reaching for the second one, they can knock it behind. They can get a little flat. So you really need to have the horses head up. Make sure you have a big, strong jump up to be able to settle for the second. So it can be tricky. It's a stupid pole to knock.
And obviously the choices you make as to how many strides governed by your horse. What would your be?
They are governed by a horse. I don't think anyone should want to go for 2. You always want to go for the 1 here.
So Lindenberg, he would go up in...
Everyone did. Most people did in 1 because you really want a big, strong jump up because the jumps are big enough.
So that's the step. A big thank you to Western Shop. If we could get a shot of the sponsors. Western Shop, the sponsors of the steps. Western Shop, leaders in retail, market leaders in saddlery in South Africa. Big thank you to the Gershaw brothers and Mr. Dion Augustine. Western Shop are once again coming forward with a sponsor. Right, so now on to the 1-2 Smile Hedge, jump number 5. Round the star we go, and this is now right next to the VIP area. Does that ever cause problems? Do these VIPs know how to behave? Do they know horse etiquette?
I'm not sure if anyone ever knows how to behave, but the horses do definitely look at what's next to the arena. Obviously also the ones doing their first derby. It's very big square oxer, so they need to be concentrating.
Would this stand maximum 150?
I can't be sure. I don't think it is. I think it's possible. It could be. We'd have to ask Anna about that. But it is a big square oxer. And I think with the crowd here and making a noise, it does distract the horses. So the horses have got to really be listening to the rider and focused here.
In fact, 4-time winner last year, Nicole Horwood. I think this is where her derby of 2018 ended. So even for a 4-time winner, it's not a jump to be taken lightly. I don't think any jump in the derby is a jump to be taken lightly. They all have their own
tests.
Every jump is a test, which is what's such a great thing about it. But, you know, you don't need it, people on the outside actually making it more difficult.
Right, so on to jump number 6. Now, there's a bit of a congregation, as you can see, if you whip the camera around here. A lot of people are deliberating about this balustrade, sponsored by Highveld Horse Care in association with Econo Agri. Why are we taking such a long time here? What are they worried about?
It drops away sharply on the landing side. So the horses tend to, you come into it, you need to really have their head up. They need to be looking up and jumping up. And they tend to, as they take off, they tend to look down the bank on the other side. So that's where they can then suddenly drop a back leg and have it down. But Anna's been fairly kind. She's brought it away from the bank a little. So it does give the horses more option. Also, they need to turn quite sharp to come back for the table because, you know, as you know, the time is always a factor in the Derby. So in that way, they're wanting to find out exactly where they're going to jump it, where the best turn's going to be.
So what happens when they jump over there? They tend to look down and don't finish behind, and then generally they have this one down behind.
And can have it down. But it looks like Anna hasn't made it too big. She's made it a little kinder. So let's see. And you would tend to always jump it in the middle, over the upright in the middle, because it's a little more solid and it makes the horses back off it a little, because you don't want them jumping at this fence. You need them to look and back off.
This fence, the balustrade, sponsored by Highveld Horse Care in association with Econo Agri. Do go check out their websites. If you'd like to donate to Highveld Horse Care, we'd be most happy. Thank you. Mark Whiteness, and we just had a chat to Mark. Let's walk this tabletop. It's pretty big going in. In the old days, there used to be a ditch. If we could get our cameraman, keep up, Mr. Cameraman. There used to be a ditch this side, so you'd really have to ride in pretty hard. These days, not so.
Yes, this tends to be mostly a giveaway jump because the horses jump it really, really well. There is no ditch for them to look at. Sometimes the horses get a little keen, and I think you have more poles going on than off. It's a nice, easy 2 strides.
Right, take a walk. Is it a 2 strides? I want to see you walk with this gammy arm. Yes, off you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Remember, you've got
yes.
the bank there, so that backs you off.
Must be quite a nice feeling jumping off the other side.
It's a beautiful feeling jumping off this. It really is good, but you just got to sit up because however many strides further on is the star.
The St. Andrews. Well, let's walk that. Let's walk it for us, Gail. I'm not asking too much of you here, am I? Right. Gail's going to take a walk for us because this is the trappiest fence on the course as far as I'm concerned, the star. So very important not to get in too deep. You've got to have that perfect ride, as Gonda Beatrix told us. You've got to get in square, got to get right into the middle. As Peter Morrison. Peter, you're not riding?
No, mini derby this morning was good enough for me.
Sit back, relax, enjoy a daiquiri. Right, Gail, what do we make of this?
Great on a very slight curve. On a slight curve, it's
Is that usual, or she moved it?
No, it's exactly the same as it normally is. And it's a good 7 strides. It's a nice 7 strides, just a steady 7, because you don't want to get too deep. Also, you don't want to be too far. You want to jump it in the middle. I think we saw in the mini derby, one of the horses that jumped to one side, it messes everything up.
It's trappy. You have to be accurate. You've got to be pinpoint here. So we come out the St. Andrews Cross, sponsored, ladies and gentlemen, by Pure Sand. Pure Sand, the sponsors of the jump. Johan, if we can grab a quick look at the Pure Sand sponsors. Pure Sand Biostable and Kennel Cleaner and Deodorizer. Big thank you to Ivo, Vegristec and Pure Sand. Go and check them out, puresand.co.za. Doing great things for the environment, putting back into nature what man has taken out. And man, don't we take a lot. Right, Johan's back with us. Let's go, Johan, to the top of the bank here.
This is my favorite jump.
This is your favorite jump, if you get it right. Otherwise, it's your worst jump. I get to this point, Gail. Am I rushing my horse? Am I steadying my horse? What am I doing?
So to me, you would canter strongly all the way up to here, because your horse, at this level, your horse needs to be obedient. You shouldn't have to be starting to slow down before you come up the bank.
If we've done our homework as well.
Exactly. So here you just want to be steady. You want to let them have a look, see what they're doing. You can't be too quiet here. You can't just sit here and say, okay, do what you like. You need to make sure, because so often the horses look, they see it and they immediately want to back
I mean, who wants to go down there?
Exactly. So you need to make sure that you got the horse's head and that you keep them moving forward. Even though it's at a slow pace, you need to keep them moving forward. What they have to do is slide about 2/3 of the way down, just where that little lip comes off, that's where they
Johan,
jump.
give us a shot of that bank. Look, let's take a look at the slide. Is Taralo and Gonda going to go pace out the bottom?
So just
Not too close, Gail. You've already got one broken shoulder.
So just 2/3 of the way down is where they will jump off. They will take a...
Hopefully.
Yes.
Right.
That's what you really
Yes.
train. That's when you do your training and you
Step
train
back.
them
I'm
to
worried.
do that.
I'm worried you're going to land up in two slings. Right. So let's go down to the bottom of the bank. Let's pace it out.
And when you land there, it's a 2 strides. It's a forward 2. You've got to hold the horse's head up because that's a big plank at the bottom. And so often, sometimes the horses can jump and they can land a little bit in a heap, and then it's a lot to get them to pick themselves up and to look up and jump that. So you need to
You've got
be
to come
so
down
on the
there
ball.
balanced,
Yeah.
and that comes the panels come very quickly. Now, wait, you wanted the Ananda Derby by and by. Derby here, Lindenberg. If you had a choice between the vertical bank of Ananda and this bank today, which one are you going for?
Oh, this is way easier.
You are hardcore. You guys of your generation at Ananda are hardcore. Right, let's go down. Let's pace it out. So what were we saying? Around about 2.5, 2 strides?
2 strides.
2 strides. If you're sliding off midway down. Right, okay, well, let's walk it. Let's walk it. Let's see. Because obviously it's up to the course designer's discretion. Right, so that's where we plop off, 2/3 down, and then walk. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So you've got to have the horse really up in your hand, in front of your leg and up in your hand. And you would always want to go for one of these uprights because, again, there's bushes in front
But
of
then
it.
if we're going for one of the uprights, so we're not buying ourselves a little bit of space going at the angle.
No, you're not going to go at an angle. You're going to go straight.
All right, I believe you. Let's go. Okay, so we've got the planks out of the way. The top bet, big thank you to Top Bet. We spoke to Aisling O'Connor a little bit earlier. The Top Bet bank and planks as we come around here. Where are we going, Gail? Where are we going?
We're going to the
11.
big oxa, the big white oxa. This is also quite in your face. It's very square. And you've got to make sure that you get enough pace here to do this because you've got quite a sharp turn afterwards to go to the dike. But it's a big jump, so the horses have got to be moving forward.
From where I'm standing and looking, I can't even see the back rail. That's how square this is.
It is. It's very square. And so you've got to be careful of the front. And it's quite wide too, so you've got to make sure you've got the pace to get the back rail.
Johan, let's get a shot of our sponsor, Insure Risk Financial Consultants. Big thank you to Insure Risk. Please go and check them out. Of course, we want to pay our sponsors their dues. Wonderful to have new sponsors in the equestrian sport in South Africa. So it's over the big white oxa, and then it's a right-hand turn. Are we coming inside of the rustics?
I would always come inside because the time factor. If you're going to be wanting to go clear, you've got to take the time into account. So you can't afford to go around the oxa. And it is enough space. You've got enough space as long as your horse is obedient. Again, for this, the horse needs to be sitting up. You need to have him on your hand in front of your leg. The same thing, they tend to want to look down when they go down on a slight slope, so you need to have the horse's head up. They can so often, if they're looking down into the dike, they can have the front rail, or if as they take off they look down, then they can have the back. So you just need to have it balanced.
Now, we're not seeing any riders walking the distance in the dike?
It's always the same, obviously. It's a nice 2 strides in and a steady 2 out. It's
We
steady.
hope.
Exactly.
Right. Back on Track brings you the dike, and here with us is Linda Ellerine. Johan, over here, please. Linda Ellerine, thank you so much. And Kylie Pettit, come on over here. Big thank you to the 2 lovely ladies in charge of the sponsorship for the dike. Back on Track, wonderful products. How are you? Why are you not riding?
Very good, thank you. My horse doesn't like to jump the St. Andrew's Cross, so...
Kylie doesn't like to jump the St. Andrew's Cross. Linda, thank you so much for your patronage. Happy with the way the show is going?
Very nice. This track looks huge, though.
Clooney's in good form?
Not really, but we'll see. I just think that it's jolly big.
I think he's a lurker. I think he loves the derbies. Go well, Linda Ellerine, Back on Track. Big thank you to them. Go and check out their website, Back on Track, sa.co.za. Wonderful products, bringing out the best in your horse. So we come out of the dike, Gale. There you are. Come now to the Martin Collins style.
This is the style. Okay, it's a slightly narrower jump. I think it's 3 meters wide instead of 3 meters, 3.6. It's just something you've got to gather yourself after you've done something on a slope. It's normally it doesn't normally cause too much of a problem. When it used to be at Ananda Club, it used to have trees over the top of it, and it used to have a slope down to it, so it played much more of a factor in the final result. But this this course everything being on the level, it makes it a lot easier.
And of course, the star brought to you by Martin Collins, arena construction and specialists in synthetic surfaces. Right, let's walk this distance. Gail's going to walk it for us. So, Johan, you can follow Gail as she steps it out to a very, very big and daunting rustic oxer, sponsored by the courier guy, who love to handle your package. Go and check out the courier guy. Big thank you to them for their sponsorship here at Derby 2019. New sponsor in the game. Lovely to have them on board. What are we walking here?
Perfect 8 strides to this. Again.
So waiting at just a gentle 8. We're not rushing, we're just sitting.
No, we're not pushing because, again, this is very square. It's very in your face. It's high, the front panel. As you can see, they're on flat cups here. So you just have to...
Look here, Johan, flat.
You just have
Flat
to
as a
breathe
pancake.
on this and it's going to come off. You always want to jump where this...
You just knock these also wobble, so that's going to...
Yeah, and you always want to be where this upright is because it backs the horses off a little bit. So you want to jump right at this point.
Right. Okay, so how wide is this spread? It looks pretty wide, Gail. Gail, could you stand there and take 2 arms and just show us how wide that spread? Right, follow on, let's go. Okay, so we've come over the rustic panel sponsored by the courier guy. It's a left-hand turn. And now do we want to take a run at this or...
You want to take a run at it because the water is fairly wide. But again, you don't want to go too far because, again, you're wasting time. So it depends on how good a water jumper your horse is. Again, you're going to go where the little boxes are, not where the poles are. If they do knock the pole, it doesn't matter. It's not a fault. It doesn't
do you not have to jump a little bit further if you go where the boxes are? Does it not get you off of it a little bit?
It's 6 inches, but it makes the horse jump higher. So what you really want a horse to do is get height over the water to clear the width. And by jumping the box, you're going to get more height. So you definitely want to jump the box here.
Johan, let's take a shot of the rear net water jump. Big thank you to Govert Triggle, who we spoke to a little bit earlier. As you can see, all of our sponsors taking a walk around the course. Each one of these jumps sponsored by a different company. Big thank you to them. All being presented with a special KPC mementos for 2019. Right, Gail, let's place this out. This now a big test.
This is because the water is wide, so you want to jump it really forward, and then you've got to get your horse right back for this wall. So many horses you see land and they just set sail for the wall, and that's where often a lot of mistakes are made because the horses won't come back off the water.
So this is an obedience test.
It is an obedience test.
Let's pace it out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 27.
You want to be, they are going to land and be moving forward, so you need to get them back.
Are there choices here?
There are choices. You'd sort of say there was a choice, so you could actually leave one out here if your horse set sail.
But you want to leave one out.
You don't want to leave one out here.
You leave one out, you leave the hocks out the back door, you ain't getting the height you need.
Exactly, or the face goes through the hole in the middle here. So
well, at least they've been kind enough to leave the hole for the face to go through. Right, so this is now, Johan, if you take a look, this is maximum. This is maximum, so this is standing around about I think last year it stood 160, possibly around about the same this year.
The only one of the horses who could get away with leaving one out here is Kelly on Hera. That mare is so strong. She takes a hold, boy, and Kelly's got to really hang on to her. And she's so careful.
And she's short coupled, so she's got that power ratio.
She has. So if any horse can leave one out here and clear it, it's Hera.
Right, well, let's see how Kelly rides that. We'll have to wait a little while. She is the highest qualifier. That's jump number 16. Now we go round the panels. We get a breather. We're coming towards home. Of course, it's a long, long course. What is the exact distance? Do we know?
It's 1,000 meters, so it's 1 kilometer long. It is a hell of a long course. And so the horses have got to be really fit, and the riders have got to be really fit.
Speed, we're traveling at 350.
No, it's 400. The Derby is always at 400 meters a minute, so it's up a level from your normal courses. But then again, it's a big arena, so you can gallop.
Right, so this fence brought to you by Ioko, and of course, before Conrad and Renee murder me watching the live stream behind, Johan, grab a shot of Revel Stables. On the wall, big sponsor of the wall. We forgot about them. Big shout out to Conrad and Renee.
Conrad and Renee are fantastic. They run the best show at Revel Stables, and we are always grateful to them.
Okay, so we scored our brownie points. Let's get back to the track. Right, the double of gates going in, sponsored by Ioko. Once again, a new sponsor in the game. Big thank you to them.
Same story here. You want to jump it right in the middle by the central thing because it gives you a little bit of a...
Let's have a look at the central thing. Johan, there's the central thing.
It's got a little bush at the bottom, so it can back the horses off a little because by now they're getting a little heavy on your hand, they're a little strong, so you want them to back off. So this is quite a big, it's a steady one stride inside, it's quite big coming out. So the horses have still got to have enough stamina to get over
they've got to have
this.
enough puff.
Yeah.
Do riders have an eye on the clock? Do you ever look at the clock when you're going around?
No, you're just trying to get round, but where you're thinking about the time is between each jump. You're not actually looking at the clock because you wouldn't really know where you should be. I can't think of anybody who knows that as they're going over number 5 they need to be at a certain time. So it's just about you trying to go as fast as you can, as carefully as you can.
Maintain your pace.
Yeah.
Right, let's pace it out. 4, 5, 6, 7.
It's a perfect one stride.
Right. But we don't want to come in here too hot.
No, you don't want to come in here too hot because otherwise then if you jump in too big, the horses have got to really back off the front rail, then you don't make the back rail. So you want to come in quietly.
Is this around about the size of Inanda in the old days? It seemed a lot bigger to me then, but maybe it's because I was a lot smaller.
That's also possible. No, I think it's exactly the same size as then. The only difference is that, which makes this course quite different, is that it's all on level, whereas at the old Inanda, every single jump was on a slope, which made it a lot more difficult.
Yeah, balance. Yeah. Right, that's the penultimate jump, and then of course we go towards the last one. Do you normally walk this distance, or are you... Right.
Basically here, you can make whatever decision you like, but...
You're just holding on right now.
You don't really want to be doing too many changes of mind here because now the horses are tired. So you want to be doing as little as possible. You want to just make sure that they're balanced and going forward. So to me, you wouldn't want to land, take away, and then start to say to the horse, go forward. There's not enough time. So you do want to walk this and you want to get there at the correct distance.
Perfect. Well, let's walk it out. And Johan, we'll go this way. Johan, you'll follow me. Johan? All right. Johan's on a mission. He's following Gail. Winner of the Mini Derby. This looks big, Gail.
It's always big. And this fact of it being at the end of the course, it is really big. So it's a perfect 8, center to center from that jump to this. And you want to be riding it. You want to keep your horse up underneath you. And it's a long way to the back pole. So your horse really needs to be on point. If you're going to put in 9 strides, you're going to be in trouble. If you're trying to drop one, you're going to be in trouble. You need to do the 8 here, and you need to make sure your horse is with you.
And hopefully you're still breathing at this point.
Exactly. If you're not, I think there is a first aid stand quite close.
And what's changed? We've seen in previous years that these have been solid 3.6 meter regular jumping poles. We've now gone back to these wavy, wattly, rusticy, natural poles.
I think these natural ones are great. It just gives the whole thing character. The jumps are the poles are not necessarily lighter than the others because the others were machine poles, but they just, to me, they give it a much better look.
Gail, thank you very much for your time. We'll see you back up in commentary a moment or two. Johan and I are going to take a quick pan around this arena. So up on the balcony, all of our VIPs for 2019, all of the people who've come to the party with their money, with their checkbooks, made the show possible. Then if we take a right-handed pan across the grandstands, we start off with the Sheraton Hotel grandstand, the Biogen grandstand. Of course, Biogen also the sponsor of the Rustic at jump number 18. So we did get a shot of that. Big thank you to Biogen. And then Hobday Equestrian Enterprises, as well as Pelagrasa, the Frisian stallion, is going to be on display in a moment or two for us. And finally, big thank you to Terry Casey, Fourways Equine, and of course the Haval Archway there as well. Come with me, Johan. Let me introduce you to a young man. This man over here, Mr. Ryan Sander, last year's course designer. Ryan, have you had a walk around the course? Any changes?
Yes, I have had a walk around the course, Aidan. It looks really good. I think Anna's done an outstanding job here today. The grounds look super. Course looks great. Let's see what happens with the competition.
Oxa Equestrian Supplies, your company. Great to have you on board. What do you guys do?
Manufacture equestrian equipment, any kind of show jumping, poles, uprights, wings, sponsored jumps, anything to do with show jumping equipment we manufacture.
Give us a website. Anybody out there looking to top up their supplies of show jumping equipment, this is the man to see. Ryan Sando, who do they contact?
They can contact my mother, and the website is oxeequestrian.co.za.
Have a good day, Ryan. Thanks for your support. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, that is the course for 2019. A big thank you to all of our sponsors. As you can see, they are currently walking around the course. What a course it's going to be. We look forward to a great class. Big thank you to all of them. Derby coming up, ladies and gentlemen, in around about half an hour's time. Let's take a look at those sponsors for 2019 one more time.
Downings is the leading marquee infrastructure company in South Africa, unmatched in creativity, innovation, and technical capability. Our event marquees and semi-permanent structures bring style, quality, and 20 years of expertise to any project. We offer state-of-the-art tailored marquee structures with world-class sophistication to amplify any celebration, corporate event, or commercial project. Downings, your countrywide marquee specialists.
Welcome back to Derby 2019, ladies and gentlemen. This broadcast brought to you by Capital Stud. Don't forget about their wonderful auction that happens on the 15th and 16th of November. We've got this wonderful facility. I think we've got the best view in the house, Gail Foxcroft.
We definitely have, because we're up at height.
Big thank you to Downings, who have brought us not only this commentary point, but of course all the big marquees here as well. Go check them out, www.downingssa.co.za. Big thank you to Richard Mons. I must say I'm sweating a bit after that course walk.
It is, so imagine what the riders are going to be doing by the time they've finished.
The weather is warm, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting up there. It must be close to 30 degrees this afternoon, so it is going to test the riders' fitness as well as the horses' fitness. And, well, let's see how we go. We are in for a cracker of a 2019 Derby. Grandstands are filling up. hoping for a very festive occasion. We love the way the grandstands have been decked out in their various sponsors' colours. We've got the Biogen red, the Equipage purple. The big thank you to Four Ways Equine Clinic, Sheraton Hotel, Pella Grassa, the Frisian Stallions, who are going to be with us in a little while as we build up to Derby 2019. Now, have you had a look at the field?
I have had a look at the field, and there's quite a few riders have jumped the Derby before. There are a lot of old campaigners. There are a couple of new people. It should be a good competition. It's always a good competition. It doesn't matter. There seem to be fewer horses this year at the Derby. I'm not sure why.
A lot of people have been commenting on that, and perhaps do we have too many shows now? Has Derby lost the appeal for some riders? What's the reason?
I don't really know what the reason is. Some of us are US. Otherwise, but some people, I'm not sure why. I think there's so many World Cup qualifiers. There's so many other shows. Maybe that's it. But I mean, to me, the Derby never loses its luster. It's always, to me, the main event on the calendar.
We love Derby. Talk to us about Derby horses, Gail. What sort of a horse do you need to jump a Derby? You've won it 3 times. Tell us about By and By. Tell us about Lindenberg. What types of horses were those? And then perhaps some of the ones that you've been on that weren't so successful. I think there was a Cruise Missile along the way. He was a little bit of a strong, hot boy.
Yeah, he did come second when he did the Derby, though.
Oh, forgive me.
Okay, yes, exactly. No, you need a brave horse. Absolutely, you need a brave horse for this. And care. They've got to have care, you know. But any good horse, any horse is good enough to do the Derby. And when people say, oh no, they don't ride their horse to the Derby because it's not a Derby horse, I can't go with that. I think if your horse is good, it can do the Derby. They might not enjoy the banks and things like that, but then you teach them to enjoy it.
So how much training would you do building up to Derby? When would you start with that training? So say the Derby's today, have you started a month ago, a week ago, 6 weeks ago?
So you'd start when your horse is 5 years old. You start doing banks and you start doing all that kind of stuff. Basically, it's about trust. Your horse needs to trust what you ask them to do. So
do people get that wrong? Then it's an afterthought and they go, oh, Derby's coming up, a bit of phone Bryce, he's got a bank, let's go there.
I think that's one aspect, and I also think these days a lot of people buy horses overseas. They get an imported horse, and who knows what it's done. And I'm not necessarily sure that they've done the Derby training. You know, I don't think the Hamburg Derby is a massive thing in Germany, obviously, and the Hickstead Derby. But I don't know how many people do those kind of things. Whereas here, every rider comes to the Derby. You know, we're a much smaller community. And I think you start training your horses. I know that I start training my horses the first time they get ridden. They start with banks and things like that. So it's about training, it really is.
Some wonderful pictures coming your way, courtesy of Capital Stud, who sponsors this broadcast. These the stallions, the Frisian Stallions from the Pella Grassa stud. You wouldn't want to jump these horses, though.
No, but they are beautiful, and they move so beautifully. It's a completely different thing. I can't see any of them really excelling over the Derby fences.
Dressage, yes. There's been a few
notable
dressage Frisians. And apparently the Pella Grassa stud, who does sponsor at Derby 2019, have, so I'm told, some of the best Frisian stallions in the world. Apparently Driss, one of their stallions, voted the top Frisian stallion in the world.
Well, that's fantastic. But I mean, just looking at these horses, they are beautiful.
A few years ago where they had the guys with the white leads running behind them. Are we going to see that?
Absolutely, I don't know, but that was fantastic.
Comment from our director, our producer says, no, they're all in hospital now.
That was beautiful. They used that music.
Yes.
I like the way you move, and it was spectacular to see them. But those guys were a hell of a fit because they had to run around here with them.
So we build up to Derby 2019, these Frisian Stallions. We're going to just watch them for a moment or two as we build up to the class. And of course, Derby going in the highest order of qualification to, or the lowest qualifiers to the highest qualifiers, meaning the highest qualifiers will go last. It doesn't necessarily, Gail Foxcroft, mean that the best horses are coming last, because some people will jump a class and qualify and feel that they've done enough and go home and come back on the Sunday, give their horses a break. So it's a bit of a skewed thing, is it not?
It is, particularly this year, because there aren't so many horses that have been at the show. Normally, when, like a couple of years ago, when there were a hell of a lot of horses entered for the big classes, you had to jump every class and you couldn't have a pole down to be able to qualify. So this year, all the horses that entered have qualified, so people could just take their time and only do 1 or 2 classes, especially for the older horses. They don't want to jump every day. Barry was chatting to me about counter-attack. And he said, the horse has had soundness problems over his career, and he doesn't want to jump every day because then he's shot his bolt by the time the Derby comes along. So for those horses, it's definitely been much better for them this year that they can actually pick and choose and only do 1 warm-up.
There has been some talk about the qualification process at some of these shows, that it's changed a little bit. It used to be on a point system. Now it's gone to the top 8 in each class. How exactly does it work?
That, I think it originally was Barry's idea, and it was a really bad idea.
No offense, Barry.
No, because, it should be horses qualifying over the whole show. The horses that do the best over the whole show should qualify in that sort of order. Your horses have to stay sound, I'm afraid. That is one of the things. And obviously it is, the older horses don't want to jump as much as the younger horses. But to me, they should have maybe your 3 best scores counting out of the 4 classes that you have at a show. And if your horse is good enough, it will qualify.
What is an old horse? When you say the older horses, when are we at our prime? When are we at our peak, and when are we teetering on old?
I think the horses are sort of at their peak sort of from about 10, 11 until about 14. Something like that's really their peak. But, by and by won the Derby at 20.
How old were you when you first won the Derby? You're saying that by and by was older than you?
No, he wasn't older than me. No, I was 27, I think. My first Derby, I was second.
Yeah.
But, the horses, a lot of older horses, the horses with experience often do better in the Derby because it is a completely different. It's not necessarily a young horse class. But then again, with the good horses, a good horse is a good horse.
Speaking of by and by, do you take us through those 2 wins with him and then with Lindenberg as well? Tell us about that great campaign.
By and by first one with Lachlan, who brought him. Lachlan made him. And he won in 1981 with Lachlan. It was the year that 4 of them all tied. 5 of them tied. It was
the year of the storm.
It was a big storm. They all had 4 faults, and then they all tied. It was Lachlan, it was Errol Vuchefenich, Tony Lewis, Ali Vuchefenich, and Willie Peters. And they all tied for first place. That was by and by's first win in 81, and then I won on him in 87 and 90. He was the most amazing horse. He was brave, he was careful, he was an absolute winner through and through. He won everything with Lachlan, and he won so much with me too.
And then, of course, you won again at this venue, the 2 wins with by and by at the old Inanda. And then we moved across to Kyalami Equestrian Park, and you had a win with the lovely Lindenberg. What was he like, cheeky?
He had such an amazing character. Yeah, he was full of himself. He knew exactly who he was and that everyone thought he was great. And he won in 2005. And then it was the next year that you so kindly pointed out that he made me have a closer look at the jump number 3. Because I took him for granted. I let him stick his nose in it when he walked past, and I was a bit casual. I thought he'd won it the year before. He wouldn't look at it, and he did. So he used to keep me on my toes. But he was also an amazing horse, and really a horse for a big occasion.
Some wonderful pictures coming to us, courtesy of Capital Stud, and of course a lot of other big sponsors. Big thank you to them once again. We mentioned Style Fragrances, and then of course Epol and Equus, Kincard Dean sponsoring the camera towers. All come to the party to make Derby 2019 possible as we build up to the big class. And then, of course, don't forget about the Highveld Horse Care Unit. They were running a wonderful, wonderful raffle. An Henri Revel saddle has generously been donated to Highveld Horse Care, care of Equestrian House, Mr. Greg Warham, and that is being made available. Raffle tickets are available. I do believe you can enter online as well, so if you go to Highveld Horse Care's page or their Facebook page, then do enter that raffle for the Henri Revel saddle. Stand a chance to win that. The winner will be drawn after the prize giving for the main class?
I was chatting to Gonda earlier because she's won this event 6 times, and the first time she won it was in 1968 on a thoroughbred called El Dorado. So there's a lot of experience here around this arena today.
And Gonda just, yesterday coaching the top 6 in the mini derby, the micro derby, sponsored by Vitpoort. The top 5 out of those 6 were coached by Gonda.
Yeah, she's a very, very good coach. I mean, she was probably the best rider we've ever had in this country. And yeah, she's won the derby 6 times.
Some of the riders of yesteryear that you looked up to as a young Gail Foxcroft, and now perhaps today some of the riders that you admire both locally and internationally? You can leave me out of the list.
Okay, well that makes it easier. We had so many, we've always had good riders in this country, and a wonderful thing, funnily enough, recently, one of the coursers, Bernardo Costa de Cabral, that built at the Revel World Cup, he sent a